Good evening. Tonight's tale concerns a most unusual outbreak. Not the first plague to sweep across humanity, but perhaps the swiftest, an infection that began, as these catastrophes often do, with a single case in a quiet Pennsylvania town, and from that modest beginning unfolded a collapse that consumed half a nation in 16 days. A pathogen with the fury of rabies. A transformation measured in minutes, not days. And from the eastern seaboard to the Mississippi, the slow realization that containment was never truly possible, only delay. Before we proceed, a brief confession. The broadcasts you are about to hear were created with the assistance of artificial intelligence. The voices are synthetic. The events, however fantastical, are orchestrated by human minds. Technology provides the machinery, but imagination turns the gears. What follows is entirely fictional. Any resemblance to real places, real procedures, or real failings in our emergency response systems is purely coincidental. And yet, you may discover that when civilization faces an enemy it cannot negotiate with, cannot reason with, and cannot outrun, we learn rather quickly how fragile our ordered world truly is, much like the society at the heart of our tale. The broadcast will begin momentarily. I do hope you've locked your doors. Enjoy the show.
Good evening, I'm Bill Kennedy. Thanks for joining us on this Friday night. We've got a lot to cover tonight, so let's get right to it. Wall Street ended the week on a positive note, with the Dow Jones climbing 123 points in late trading. Analysts are calling it cautious optimism as consumer spending shows modest gains for the third consecutive month. The recovery, while slow, appears to be holding steady, according to economists we spoke with earlier today. In Washington, debate continues over the proposed healthcare reform legislation. Senate Majority Leader Harry Reid says the bill could reach the floor for a vote by mid-October, though Republican leadership warns they'll fight what they're calling government overreach. The White House released a statement this afternoon expressing confidence that a bipartisan compromise can be reached, but both sides remain deeply divided on key provisions. Turning to international news. Tensions escalate in the Middle East as Iran conducts what it calls routine military exercises near the Strait of Hormuz. The Pentagon is monitoring the situation closely, and Secretary of State Hillary Clinton issued a statement urging calm and diplomatic solutions. We'll continue to follow that story. In sports, the Pittsburgh Pirates are keeping their slim playoff hopes alive after a dramatic 9-7 victory over the Cincinnati Reds. Pirates fans are, well, they're hopeful but realistic with just 8 games left in the regular season. Meanwhile, Steelers training camp continues as they prepare for Sunday's game against the Bengals. Now, as we head into fall, health officials are reminding everyone that it's flu season. And tonight, we're getting reports of an uptick in flu cases in western Pennsylvania. Our field reporter Zoe Loomis is live in Fairfield tonight with more on this developing health story. Zoe?
Thanks, Bill. I'm standing outside Fairfield Medical Center here in rural Pennsylvania, about 90 miles southeast of Pittsburgh. Now, Fairfield is a small farming community, population around 4,000, and the local hospital here is reporting what officials are calling an unusually high number of flu cases for this time of year. Health officials stress this isn't cause for alarm, just a reminder that flu season is upon us and people should take normal precautions. I spoke earlier with Dr. Patricia Shaw from the hospital's emergency department, and she told me they've treated approximately 20 to 25 patients over the past 48 hours with flu-like symptoms. That's higher than typical for late September, but Dr. Shaw says it's not unprecedented. She mentioned that some patients are showing what she called severe symptoms, including high fever, disorientation, and in a few cases, aggressive behavior that she attributes to fever-induced delirium. The hospital is taking standard infection control measures, asking patients with symptoms to call ahead before coming in, and they're encouraging everyone to get their flu shots as soon as possible. Local pharmacies report they're well stocked with flu vaccines, and the Pennsylvania Department of Health says there's no shortage statewide. Officials are also reminding people of basic hygiene practices, washing hands frequently, covering coughs and sneezes, staying home if you're feeling sick. Now, I did ask Dr. Shaw about the aggressive behavior in some patients, and she was pretty clear that this is something they see occasionally with very high fevers. When body temperature spikes above 103 or 104 degrees, people can become confused, combative even, but it's a neurological response to the fever itself, not anything unusual about this particular flu strain. She says once they get the fever down, patients typically return to normal. County health officials say they're monitoring the situation, working with the Civil Emergency and Defense Agency in Atlanta to identify which flu strain is circulating, but they expect it's probably one of the typical seasonal varieties. They're not recommending any special precautions beyond what you'd normally do during flu season. Back to you in the studio, Bill.
All right. Thanks, Zoe. So just a reminder for our viewers, if you haven't gotten your flu shot yet, now's a good time to do that. Most insurance plans cover it, and pharmacies and doctors' offices across the region have vaccines available. Takes just a few minutes, could save you from a week of misery. Coming up after the break, we'll have your weekend forecast. Looks like we're in for some beautiful early fall weather. Temperatures in the mid-70s, perfect for getting outside. Plus, we'll tell you about a local high school's robotics team heading to nationals and why their teacher says they've got a real shot at bringing home the trophy. Stay with us. Good evening, I'm Bill Kennedy. We're going to begin tonight with a developing story out of Fairfield, Pennsylvania. What started this afternoon as a routine flu outbreak has turned into something far more concerning. The local hospital is now reporting they're overwhelmed with patients, and we're getting disturbing reports of violence inside the medical facility. Our field reporter Zoe Loomis has been on the ground in Fairfield all day, and she joins us now with the latest. Zoe?
Bill, the situation here has changed dramatically in just the past few hours. I'm still outside Fairfield Medical Center, but I have to tell you, what we're seeing now is nothing like what I reported this afternoon. There are at least a dozen ambulances lined up outside the emergency room entrance. Some of them have been waiting for over an hour just to unload patients. Medical staff are wearing full protective equipment, masks, gowns, gloves, and they're moving with real urgency. The hospital administrator came out about 20 minutes ago and confirmed what we've been hearing from sources inside. They've treated over 70 patients since this morning, and the number keeps climbing. That's nearly triple what I reported earlier today. More concerning, hospital staff are describing these patients as, and I'm quoting here, extremely violent and difficult to restrain. Now, I spoke with several nurses who were leaving their shifts, and they didn't want to go on camera, but they told me things inside are, well, they used the word chaotic. One nurse said she's worked emergency medicine for 15 years and has never seen anything like this. Patients are attacking staff, trying to bite them, scratching, and it's taking multiple people to hold down a single patient. Local police have increased their presence here significantly. I'm counting at least 8 patrol cars in the parking lot, and officers are now stationed inside the hospital. Fairfield Police Chief issued a statement asking residents to avoid the downtown area unless absolutely necessary, and they're asking anyone experiencing flu symptoms to call the hospital before coming in.
Zoe, have authorities said anything about what might be causing this level of aggression in these patients?
That's the question everyone's asking, Bill, and honestly, we're not getting clear answers. The hospital administrator mentioned CETA has been contacted, and they're sending a team to Fairfield tonight. What I'm hearing from medical staff off the record is that this doesn't match any flu presentation they've seen before. The speed of onset is unusual, the severity of symptoms is unusual, and this violent behavior, it's happening in almost every patient, not just a few isolated cases. I tried to get more specifics from Dr. Shaw, the emergency department doctor I spoke with this afternoon, but she was pulled back inside before we could talk. A hospital spokesperson did say they're taking this very seriously. They're implementing what they called enhanced infection control measures, and they're requesting additional resources from the county.
All right. Zoe, stay safe out there. Keep us updated as you learn more. Now, we've been trying to reach state health officials for comment, and just before we went on air, we received this statement from the Pennsylvania Department of Health. I'm going to read it to you. We are aware of the situation in Fairfield and are coordinating closely with local health officials and the Centers for Disease Control. While we are seeing an elevated number of influenza cases, we want to emphasize that flu season is upon us, and this is not unexpected. We are monitoring the situation and will provide updates as appropriate. Residents should take normal precautions, including frequent hand washing, covering coughs and sneezes, and staying home if feeling ill. Now, I have to say, that statement feels, well, It feels somewhat at odds with what we're seeing on the ground in Fairfield. 70 patients in one day, violent behavior, police presence at the hospital. This seems like more than routine flu season. We're going to continue following this story throughout the evening. We've put in requests for interviews with the CETA team that's en route to Fairfield, and we're hoping to have more information for you within the hour. If you're in the Fairfield area and experiencing any flu-like symptoms, please call the hospital before going in. They're asking people not to just show up at the emergency room. Coming up, we'll have more on this developing story, including what experts are saying about aggressive behavior in flu patients. Stay with us. Good evening, I'm Bill Kennedy. Tonight, troubling new developments in what health officials are still calling a flu outbreak in rural Pennsylvania. The Civil Emergency and Defense Agency has confirmed the infection has now spread to 3 surrounding counties, with cases reported in Gettysburg, Chambersburg, and as far as York. 30, the CETA agency team that arrived in Fairfield on Friday is now conducting what they're describing as an urgent epidemiological investigation. Joining us in the studio tonight is Dr. Ellis Doyle, an epidemiologist with the Civil Emergency and Defense Agency who's been working directly with the Fairfield Hospital over the past 36 hours. Dr. Doyle, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me, Bill.
Let me start with what I think is the most pressing question on everyone's mind. We've been told this is influenza, but what we're seeing, the speed of transmission, the violent behavior in patients, this doesn't seem like any flu outbreak we've covered before. What exactly are we dealing with here?
Well, that's what we're working very hard to determine right now. What I can tell you is that we're seeing transmission rates that are, frankly, unprecedented for influenza. Typically, flu spreads over days or weeks within a community. What we're observing in Fairfield is much more rapid. We're seeing clusters of cases appearing within hours of each other.
And the behavioral symptoms. We've had reports of extreme aggression, patients attacking medical staff. Is that consistent with influenza?
The behavioral symptoms are, I'll be honest, unprecedented for influenza as well. What we're seeing is extreme agitation in a significant percentage of infected individuals. Now, severe flu can cause confusion, disorientation, particularly when combined with high fever. But the level of aggression we're documenting and the consistency of it across cases, that's something we're working to understand better.
Dr. Doyle, I want to ask about something we've been hearing. Fairfield is a farming community, and there's been speculation that this might have originated in livestock. Are you investigating that possibility?
We are exploring every possible transmission vector, including zoonotic transmission, which means animal to human transmission. Fairfield does have a significant agricultural presence, particularly pig and cattle farming operations. We know that some diseases, H1N1, avian flu, others, can jump from animals to humans. Our team is conducting tests on livestock in the area, interviewing farmers and agricultural workers, looking at any potential connection. But I want to be very clear, we don't have confirmation of animal origin at this time. It's one avenue of investigation among many.
How concerned should people be right now? We have cases in 4 counties now, and based on the timeline, this seems to be spreading quite rapidly.
Look, we're taking this very seriously. The transmission rate is concerning. The symptom severity is concerning. And we're mobilizing significant resources to understand what we're dealing with. That said, we're taking every precaution. We're working with local hospitals to implement enhanced containment measures. We're tracing contacts of confirmed cases. We're doing everything we would do in response to a serious infectious disease outbreak. For the general public, I would say continue taking the precautions you'd take during any flu season. Wash your hands frequently. Avoid close contact with people who are sick. If you develop symptoms, call your healthcare provider before going in. And I want to emphasize that last point. Please call ahead rather than just showing up at emergency rooms. It helps hospitals manage patient flow more effectively.
You mentioned you're working to identify the exact pathogen. Do you have a timeline on when you might know definitively what this is?
We're running every diagnostic test available. Viral cultures, genetic sequencing, the works. Some of those tests take time, 48 to 72 hours for preliminary results, longer for definitive identification. What I can tell you is that initial tests are showing this is likely viral, and it shares some characteristics with rabies-related viruses, but we need more time to be certain.
Rabies-related viruses? That's concerning, given the behavioral symptoms you mentioned.
I don't want to speculate beyond what we know, but yes, we're evaluating neurological impacts. The aggression we're seeing could be explained by neurological involvement, which would be consistent with certain types of viral infections. But again, we're still in the investigation phase. We're gathering data, running tests, and we'll share findings as soon as we have confirmed results.
Is there treatment available? What are doctors doing for these patients right now?
Currently, treatment is supportive. We're managing symptoms, providing fluids, fever reduction, sedation when necessary for the agitated patients. Standard antiviral medications for influenza have shown limited effectiveness so far, but we're continuing to evaluate treatment options. I wish I had better news on that front, but we're doing everything we can to provide care for affected individuals.
Dr. Ellis Doyle from the Civil Emergency and Defense Agency, thank you for taking the time to speak with us tonight. We appreciate the information, and we hope you'll keep us updated as your investigation continues.
Thank you, Bill.
We'll continue monitoring this situation closely. Again, if you're in the affected areas, Fairfield, Gettysburg, Chambersburg, or York counties, and you develop flu-like symptoms, please contact your healthcare provider before seeking care. We'll have more on this story as information becomes available. Coming up, your weekend weather forecast, and we'll check in on local high school football as teams prepare for Friday night games. Stay with us.
Brothers and sisters, I want to talk to you this morning about plagues. Not the kind you read about in history books, not some distant memory from centuries past, but plagues that are happening right now, right here in our own backyard. Some of you drove past Fairfield on your way here this morning. Some of you have family there, friends there, people you care about, and you're scared. I can see it in your eyes. I can feel it in this room. You're wondering if God has turned his face from us. Let me take you back to the book of Exodus, chapters 7 through 12. The plagues of Egypt, water turning to blood, frogs, locusts, boils on the skin, darkness that could be felt, and finally, death itself walking through the streets, taking the firstborn of every household. Pharaoh's heart was hardened, the Bible tells us. He refused to let God's people go. And so plague after plague was visited upon Egypt until Pharaoh had no choice but to relent. Now, I'm not going to stand up here and tell you that what's happening in Fairfield is exactly like Egypt, but I am going to tell you that God works through history in ways we don't always understand, in ways that challenge us, in ways that test our faith. We're hearing reports of people getting sick, violent sick, attacking their neighbors, their families, losing all sense of who they are. The doctors are calling it flu, but you and I both know that no flu does what this is doing. This isn't natural, and whether it came from a laboratory or from the very pits of hell itself, it's here now, and we have to decide how we're going to face it. In Leviticus 13, God gives Moses and Aaron detailed instructions about dealing with infectious disease, about identifying the unclean, about quarantine and isolation. The person with such an infectious disease must wear torn clothes, let their hair be unkempt, cover the lower part of their face, and cry out, "Unclean, unclean." That seems harsh to our modern ears, doesn't it? But God knew something that we forget in our arrogance, in our belief that we've conquered every disease, every plague, every threat to our comfortable lives. Sometimes separation is necessary. Sometimes the unclean must be kept from the clean, not out of cruelty, but out of necessity, out of survival. I've been hearing people say this is punishment, punishment for our sins, for the violence we celebrate in our movies and our video games, for the way we've turned away from God, for the moral decay that's eating at the heart of this nation like cancer. And you know what? Maybe they're right. Maybe God is trying to get our attention, trying to shake us out of our complacency. We've gotten comfortable, haven't we? We think we're invincible. We think science has all the answers. We think we don't need God anymore because we have antibiotics and vaccines and hospitals with machines that go ping. But here's what I want you to understand, what I need you to hear me say. Whether this is divine judgment or not, whether this is God's plan or the devil's work or just nature running its terrible course, we have a choice to make. Do we help our neighbors, or do we lock our doors and hide? Do we show compassion to the sick, or do we turn our backs on them? Do we trust in God's protection, or do we trust only in our own fear? Jesus didn't run from the lepers. He touched them, healed them, brought them back into the community. But, and this is important, he also had the power to do so without becoming unclean himself. We don't have that power. We're mortal, we're vulnerable, and there's no shame in protecting ourselves and our families. God gave us brains for a reason, gave us the ability to reason and plan and prepare. God helps those who help themselves, as the saying goes, even though that's not actually in the Bible. I'm telling you this because I got word yesterday that cases have been reported in Adams County. That's the county north of us, right next door. This isn't just Fairfield's problem anymore. It's coming closer. Some of you noticed we have maybe half the congregation we had last week. People are scared, they're staying home, and I don't blame them. But those of you who are here, you're here because you need community, because you need faith, because you need to know that God hasn't abandoned us even when everything looks dark. So here's what I'm asking of you. Pray. Pray for the sick. Pray for the doctors and nurses who are risking their lives to care for them. Pray for wisdom for our leaders. Pray for protection for your families. But also prepare. Make sure you have supplies. Make sure you have a plan. Make sure you're ready if this comes to our doorstep. There's no contradiction between faith and preparation. Noah built an ark before the rain started falling. He didn't just pray and hope for the best. And if someone you know gets sick, if this infection comes into your home or your neighbor's home, remember that the person you knew is still in there somewhere, still loved by God, still deserving of mercy, but also remember that your first duty is to the living, to those who can still be saved. Don't let guilt or false compassion put your family at risk. These are hard truths, harder than I've ever had to speak from this pulpit, but these are hard times we're facing. Let us pray. Heavenly Father, we come before you in fear and trembling, not knowing what tomorrow brings, not understanding why this plague has been visited upon us. We ask for your mercy, for your protection, for your healing touch upon the sick and the suffering. Give strength to those who care for the afflicted, wisdom to those who seek to stop this disease, and courage to all of us who must face the days ahead. Help us to be lights in the darkness, to show your love even in the midst of terror, and to trust in your ultimate plan even when we cannot see it. In Jesus' name we pray, amen. Go in peace, and may God protect you and yours in the days to come.
This is the emergency alert system. This is not a test. The Pennsylvania Emergency Management Agency has issued a public health emergency for the following counties: Adams, Cumberland, Franklin, and York counties. Effective immediately, residents are advised to shelter in place until further notice. A rapidly spreading illness has been confirmed in multiple communities. Symptoms include high fever, severe agitation, and aggressive behavior. If you or anyone in your household develops these symptoms, isolate them immediately and contact emergency services. Avoid contact with individuals displaying erratic or violent behavior. Do not approach anyone who appears ill. Hospitals in the affected area are operating at capacity. Only seek medical attention for life-threatening emergencies. All schools and non-essential businesses in the affected counties are closed until further notice. Residents should remain indoors, secure all entrances, and monitor local news and radio stations for updates. The Centers for Disease Control has deployed response teams to the region. Further information will be provided as it becomes available. This has been a message from the Pennsylvania Emergency Management Agency in coordination with the Civil Emergency and Defense Agency. Stand by for further instructions.
Good evening, I'm Bill Kennedy. Tonight, we continue our coverage of the outbreak in Pennsylvania, and we want to hear from those of you who are living through this firsthand. We've opened our phone lines, and joining us now is a caller from Fairfield. Thank you for calling. Can you tell us your name and what you've been experiencing?
Yeah, my name is Zoe Valentine. I've lived in Fairfield my whole life on Naples Street, about 4 blocks from the hospital. And I need to tell you what I saw, because what they're saying on the news, what the government's saying, it's not the whole truth.
Okay, Zoe, take your time. What happened?
2 days ago, Sunday morning, my neighbor Bill Morrison, he's lived next door for probably 15 years, good guy, coaches Little League, just a regular person. He came over around 9 in the morning, said he wasn't feeling well, asked if I had any aspirin or cold medicine. I gave him some, told him to go home and rest, and he did. About an hour later, maybe hour and a half, I heard this sound from his yard. Like, not screaming exactly, but the howling. Howl went to my window, and Bill was in his driveway, and he was God. He was different. His skin looked wrong, kind of grey or green, and he was just standing there, swaying back and forth, making these noises. His wife Ellen came out, and she went over to him, tried to get him to come inside, and he just turned on her. 1 second he was Bill, complaining about feeling sick, and the next he was trying to rip her throat out. I'm not exaggerating. He grabbed her, bit her arm. She was screaming, and I called 911, but before they could get there, Ellen, she got away from him and ran inside her house. Bill just stood there in the driveway, covered in her blood, making those sounds.
That's horrifying. What happened next?
Police showed up maybe 10 minutes later. They tried to talk to Bill, but he went after them too. They had to taser him 3 times before they could get him restrained. Took him away in an ambulance. I haven't seen Ellen since. I don't know if she went to the hospital or if she's still in house or what. But here's the thing. Here's what I need people to understand. That was Sunday morning. By Sunday night, I was hearing the same sounds from 3 other houses on my street. By Monday, it was more. I've been barricaded in my house for 2 days now. I look out my window and I see people. Infected people, I guess, walking around. They're not sick people. They're not people with the flu. They're something else. They move in groups, and they're drawn to sounds. A car alarm went off down the street yesterday, and within minutes there were dozens of them heading toward it. They broke the windows, ripped the doors off, tore that car apart. This isn't flu. This is something else entirely.
Zoe, I appreciate you calling in. These are very disturbing accounts. Have you been able to reach any authorities? Are emergency services still operating in Fairfield?
I called 911 again yesterday, and the dispatcher said they were overwhelmed, said to stay inside and lock the doors. That's it. No help coming, no rescue, just stay inside. The power's still on. I still have water, but I don't know for how long. I've got maybe 3 days of food left. I don't know what I'm supposed to do after that.
We're going to connect you with our producers after this call, see if we can help coordinate some assistance for you. Thank you for calling, Zoe. Please stay safe. I want to bring in Dr. Ellis Doyle, who's been working with the Civil Emergency and Defense Agency in Fairfield. Dr. Doyle is joining us by phone tonight. Doctor, you just heard that account from Zoe Valentine. How do you respond to what she's describing?
Well, first, my heart goes out to Mr. Valentine and everyone in Fairfield dealing with this situation. It's terrifying, and I don't want to minimize what people are experiencing. What I can tell you is that we're seeing a range of symptom severity in infected individuals. Some patients have mild symptoms, others have much more severe presentations. The aggressive behavior that Mr. Valentine described is consistent with what we're documenting, though I want to be careful about characterization. These are sick people experiencing neurological effects of infection. The rapid onset he described, going from mild symptoms to severe symptoms in under 2 hours, that's also consistent with what we're observing. It's part of what makes this so challenging to contain.
But Dr. Doyle, he's describing people who appear to have completely lost their humanity. He's describing attack behavior, not just confusion or agitation. How do you explain that?
We're still evaluating the neurological impacts. What I can say is that certain viral infections can cause profound behavioral changes, particularly when they affect the brain. Rabies, which I mentioned in our previous interview, causes similar aggression in late-stage infection. We're seeing elements of that here, though the timeline is much more compressed. I want to emphasize that we're doing everything we can to understand this pathogen and develop treatment options. Local authorities are working to maintain order, provide support to affected residents, and establish safe zones for those who need to evacuate. If anyone is in Fairfield or the surrounding areas and needs assistance, please contact emergency services or follow evacuation guidance from local officials.
Dr. Ellis Doyle, thank you for your time. We'll continue to follow this story. If you're in the affected areas, please follow all guidance from local authorities. Stay inside, lock your doors, and if you need help, keep trying to reach emergency services. We'll be right back.
All right. I'm going to say this once, and I need you to listen very carefully because what I'm about to tell you could save your life. They are lying to you. The government, CETA, the mainstream media, all of them are lying through their teeth about what's happening in Pennsylvania right now. They're calling it flu. Flu. Do you see what's happening in Fairfield? That's not influenza. I don't care what some suit-wearing bureaucrat from Atlanta tells you on the evening news. That is not the flu. When's the last time you heard about flu victims ripping people's throats out? When's the last time the flu turned someone from a normal human being into a raging animal in under 2 hours? I'll tell you when. Never, because that's not what flu does. Let me lay out the facts for you, the real facts that they don't want you to know. Fact number 1, incubation period. Normal influenza takes 1 to 4 days to show symptoms after exposure. What we're seeing in Pennsylvania, minutes. Minutes? That caller on Channel 6 tonight, Zoe Valentine, God bless her for having the courage to tell the truth. He watched his neighbor go from I don't feel good to full psychotic break in 90 minutes. That's not flu, folks. That's something else entirely. Fact number 2, symptoms. Flu gives you fever, body aches, respiratory issues, maybe some confusion if the fever gets really high. What are we seeing here? Extreme violence, complete loss of higher brain function, pack hunting behavior, attraction to sound like there's some kind of predator. Does that sound like influenza to you? Because it sure as hell doesn't sound like it to me. Fact number 3, transmission rate. CDA's own epidemiologist, this Dr. Doyle character, he admitted on national television that they're seeing transmission rates unprecedented for influenza. UN precedented. One street in Fairfield went from 0 cases to 7 houses infected in less than 48 hours. Entire neighborhoods are going dark. You know what spreads that fast? Weaponized pathogens, engineered viruses designed specifically to maximize casualties. Now, here's where it gets really interesting. I've been tracking this since August. People, while you were watching the Kardashians and checking your Facebook, I was monitoring reports from rural Pennsylvania. Violent incidents in farming communities, bizarre behavior, people attacking each other with no provocation, rabies-like symptoms. The local papers called it, but nobody connected the dots. Nobody asked why there were suddenly so many rabies cases in one small geographic area. Nobody asked where it was coming from. And now they're floating this theory about livestock origin. Oh, maybe it jumped from pigs or cattle. Convenient, isn't it? Blame the animals, blame nature. Don't look at the bioweapons research facilities. Don't look at the gain-of-function research programs. Don't look at the Department of Defense contracts for weaponized pathogens. Let me tell you something about bioweapon research. Fort Detrick, Maryland. Plum Island, New York. These places exist, folks. They're real. And what do there? They take naturally occurring pathogens and they make them worse. They make them spread faster, hit harder, kill more efficiently. They call it defensive research. But you know what defensive research looks like? It looks exactly like offensive research. You can't develop defenses without creating the weapon first. So here's my theory, and I want you to think about this. What if this wasn't an accident? What if this was intentional? What if someone, and I'm not saying who, but use your imagination, wanted to test a population control mechanism? What if they needed to see how fast a weaponized pathogen could spread, how people would react, how quickly society would break down? We're better to test it than rural Pennsylvania. Small population, isolated, easy to contain if it gets out of hand, easy to write off as unfortunate outbreak if it works. And look at the government response. It's textbook. First, denial. It's just flu. Don't panic. Then, controlled information release. Okay, maybe it's serious, but we've got it under control. Then, martial law, because that's where this is heading. Mark my words. Quarantine zones, military checkpoints, forced evacuations, temporary suspension of constitutional rights. This is the playbook, people. Create the crisis, offer the solution, consolidate power. You want to know why I'm so sure about this? Because I've been spray painting messages all over this town for the last 3 days. Overpass on Route 30, they're lying. Wall behind the grocery store, it's not flu. Abandoned warehouse on Industrial Drive, get out now. You know why I'm doing this? Because the internet's being censored. Try to post the truth on social media and watch how fast your account gets suspended. Misinformation, they call it. Dangerous conspiracy theories. But the only dangerous thing here is believing their lies. I've got sources, okay? People inside the government who are sick of the cover-up. They're telling me this thing is spreading faster than anyone's admitting publicly. They're telling me the CETA has known it wasn't flu from day one, but they were ordered to maintain the narrative. They're telling me there are discussions at the highest levels about acceptable casualty rates. Acceptable casualty rates? They're literally calculating how many people they're willing to let die to maintain order and prevent panic. And here's the really scary part, the part that should make your blood run cold. This is just the beginning. Fairfield was the test. 4 counties now, that's expansion, that's spread. This thing is going to keep going, keep spreading, keep consuming everything in its path until someone stops it or until it runs out of people to infect. And the government, they're not trying to stop it, they're trying to control it. Big difference. So here's what you need to do. Right now, today, stock up food, water, medicine, weapons, if you can get them legally. Don't trust the official evacuation routes, because those are where they'll funnel you into their control zones. Don't trust the FEMA camps, because once you go in, you're not coming out. Don't trust anyone who says the government's here to help, because the government created this problem. Get out of cities. Get to rural areas, but not too rural, because that's where this thing started. Find a place that's defensible. that has clean water that can be secured. Form groups, but vet everyone carefully because you don't know who might already be infected. Trust no one completely. This is survival mode, folks. This is what we've been warning you about for years. And if you think I'm crazy, if you think I'm paranoid, if you think this is all just conspiracy theory nonsense, then ask yourself this. Why are they lying about the incubation period? Why are they lying about the symptoms? Why are they lying about the transmission rate? Why are they calling it flu when everyone with eyes can see it's something worse? What are they trying to hide? What don't they want you to know? The answer is simple. They don't want you to know that this was planned. They don't want you to know that this is the New World Order's population control mechanism finally being implemented. They don't want you to know that every single thing that's happening right now, every single death, every single infected person is part of a larger plan to remake society in their image. Stay vigilant, stay armed, stay skeptical of everything they tell you. And most importantly, stay alive, because that's the only way we can fight back. That's the only way we can expose the truth. That's the only way we can make them pay for what they've done. This is Purple Chambers, signing off but not shutting up. They can censor the internet. They can control the media, but they can't stop the truth from getting out. Spread the word, wake up your neighbors, and whatever you do, don't believe the lie.
Good evening, I'm Bill Kennedy. Tonight, a major escalation in the Pennsylvania outbreak. The governor has ordered the deployment of the National Guard to establish what officials are calling containment perimeters around affected areas. Mandatory evacuation orders are now in effect for 5 counties, and military checkpoints have been set up on all major highways leading out of the region. Our field reporter Zoe Loomis is live at one of these checkpoints. Zoe?
Bill, I'm at the intersection of Route 30 and the Pennsylvania Turnpike, about 20 miles west of the Fairfield quarantine zone. And what you're seeing behind me, this is unlike anything I've ever covered. There are military vehicles, Humvees, transport trucks, soldiers in full combat gear with assault rifles. This doesn't look like disaster relief. This looks like a war zone. The National Guard has established what they're calling screening stations at every major road leading out of the affected area. Evacuees have to stop, undergo temperature checks, answer questions about exposure, and pass a visual inspection before they're allowed through. I've been here for about 2 hours, and I've seen them turn away at least a dozen vehicles. People showing any signs of illness, fever, confusion, aggression, they're being diverted to what soldiers are calling medical isolation facilities. What's striking, Bill, is how tense everyone is. The soldiers, they're not just checking people, they're watching them with weapons ready. I spoke with a family that was turned away. The father had a fever, said he thought it was just stress, but they wouldn't let him through. His wife and kids were allowed to continue, but he was taken into custody. She was hysterical.
Zoe, have you been able to speak with military officials about the rules of engagement at these checkpoints?
I have briefly. I spoke with Colonel Blake Wesker, who's commanding this particular checkpoint. He said, and I'm quoting here, "We have established procedures for maintaining the integrity of the quarantine perimeter." When I asked what that meant specifically, he said soldiers are authorized to use necessary force to prevent contamination of unaffected areas. Bill, I pressed him on what necessary force means, and he wouldn't elaborate, but I can tell you what I'm seeing. These soldiers have live ammunition. They're positioned with clear firing lines on the road. And when anyone approaches a checkpoint showing signs of aggression or trying to bypass the screening, multiple soldiers train their weapons on that vehicle.
That's extraordinary. We actually have Colonel Wesker joining us now via satellite. Colonel, thank you for taking the time to speak with us.
Thank you for having me, Bill.
Colonel, can you explain to our viewers what the National Guard's mission is here? What exactly is the containment objective?
Our mission is to establish and maintain a secure perimeter around the affected areas, facilitate the safe evacuation of healthy civilians, and prevent the spread of infection beyond the quarantine zone. We're working in close coordination with local law enforcement, FEMA, CEDIA, and state emergency management to ensure the safety of both evacuees and the surrounding population.
You mentioned preventing the spread of infection. Your soldiers are armed with assault rifles. Are you prepared to use lethal force at these checkpoints?
We follow established procedures for escalation of force. Our primary goal is always de-escalation and compliance through verbal commands. However, if we encounter individuals who pose an immediate threat to the safety of my soldiers or to other civilians, we are authorized to use whatever force is necessary to neutralize that threat. I want to be very clear. We're not looking for confrontation. We're here to help people get to safety. But we also have a duty to protect the uninfected population.
Have you encountered infected individuals attempting to pass through the checkpoints?
We have encountered individuals displaying symptoms consistent with the infection. Yes. In those cases, they're diverted to medical facilities where they can receive care and where they don't pose a risk to others. I can't go into specifics about particular incidents, but I can tell you that our procedures are working. We're getting people out safely, and we're maintaining the integrity of the perimeter.
Colonel, from a military perspective, how would you characterize what you're facing here?
This is an unprecedented situation. We train for natural disasters, civil unrest, terrorist attacks, but this is something different. What I can tell you is that every guardsman and guardswoman under my command is professional, dedicated, and committed to the mission. We're following our procedures, we're doing our job, and we're going to see this through.
Colonel Blake Wesker, thank you for your service and for speaking with us tonight.
Thank you, Bill.
The mandatory evacuation zone now covers approximately 150 square miles and includes an estimated population of 60,000 people. Governor Ed Rendell has activated an additional 3,000 National Guard troops, bringing the total deployment to over 5,000 soldiers. This represents the largest domestic military deployment in Pennsylvania since the aftermath of Hurricane Agnes in 1972. FEMA has established temporary shelters in Harrisburg, Lancaster, and Reading for evacuees. Officials stress that these facilities are equipped to handle large numbers of people and that medical screening will be conducted at all shelter locations. If you're in the evacuation zone and have not yet left, authorities are urging you to do so immediately. We're also getting reports that the infection has now been confirmed in neighboring states. New Jersey health officials announced this evening that 3 cases have been identified in Warren County, just across the Delaware River from Pennsylvania. Maryland has reported 2 suspected cases in Washington County. Both states have activated their own emergency response procedures. The federal government has declared the outbreak area a disaster zone, freeing up emergency funding and resources. President Obama is expected to address the nation tomorrow evening. We'll bring you that address live as it happens. We'll continue to monitor this situation throughout the night. If you're in the affected areas, please follow all evacuation orders and proceed to the nearest designated checkpoint. More after this break.
All right, so we're recording. Welcome back to the show, everyone. Today we've got an important conversation. If you've been watching the news, and honestly, who hasn't been watching at this point, you know something serious is happening in Pennsylvania. And I've got Dr. Roger Thornhill here with me. He's a virologist. He's been studying infectious diseases for how long has it been?
23 years, give or take.
23 years. So this is not some random guy off the street. This is someone who knows what he's talking about. Dr. Thornhill, thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me, Carl. I appreciate the opportunity to talk about this in a, let's say, less formal setting than cable news.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's just dive right in. What the hell is happening in Pennsylvania? Because they're calling it flu, but nobody I talk to believes that's what this actually is.
Okay, so let me be direct with you. This is not influenza. I don't know why they're maintaining that narrative publicly, whether it's to prevent panic or because they genuinely don't know what else to call it yet. But based on everything we're seeing, this is something different.
Different how? Like, what makes you say that definitively?
Several things. First, the incubation period. Normal flu, you're looking at 1 to 4 days between exposure and symptoms. What we're seeing here, minutes to hours. That's not how influenza works. Second, the symptom presentation. Flu gives you respiratory symptoms primarily, fever, body aches, fatigue. This is causing profound neurological changes, extreme aggression, loss of higher cognitive function. That's not in the flu playbook.
So when you say neurological changes, are we talking about like brain damage? Are these people permanently changed?
That's a good question, and honestly, we don't have enough data yet. What I can tell you is that whatever this pathogen is, it's affecting the central nervous system in a way that fundamentally alters behavior. It's similar to what we see in late-stage rabies, which is also a virus that attacks the nervous system.
Okay, so you mentioned rabies. Is this rabies? Because I thought rabies took weeks or months to show symptoms.
Great question. No, it's not rabies, but it shares some characteristics. Rabies is caused by a lyssavirus, and it does take weeks to months for symptoms to appear because the virus has to travel from the infection site to the brain. What we're seeing here appears to be a much faster acting mechanism. It's like, imagine if someone took rabies and compressed the timeline from months to minutes. Same neurological impact, same behavioral changes, but exponentially faster.
That's terrifying.
It is terrifying, and that's why containment has been so difficult. With traditional infectious diseases, you have time to identify, isolate, and treat infected individuals before they can spread it to others. With this, by the time you know someone's infected, they've already potentially exposed dozens of people.
All right, so I've been reading about this carrier immunity thing. Can you explain that? Because that seems like maybe the only good news in all of this.
Right. So we're observing that approximately 1 to 2% of the population appears to be naturally immune. They can be exposed to the pathogen. They may even show mild symptoms, but they don't undergo the transformation that we're seeing in most infected individuals.
Okay, but why? Like, what makes those people different?
We don't know yet. It could be genetic, some variation in their immune system or their neurological makeup that prevents the virus from taking hold. It could be prior exposure to a similar pathogen that gave them partial immunity. It could even be environmental factors. We're doing research, trying to identify what makes carriers different, because if we can figure that out, we might be able to develop a treatment or a vaccine.
But that takes time, right? Like, we're not talking about next week.
We're talking months at minimum, more likely years. Vaccine development is not a fast process. Even if we identified the exact mechanism of immunity today, we'd still need to develop a vaccine candidate, test it for safety, test it for efficacy, scale up production. And that's assuming everything goes perfectly, which it never does.
So what you're saying is, for the foreseeable future, there's no cure.
There's no cure. There's symptomatic treatment for people who are infected but haven't fully transformed. But once someone reaches that stage of aggression and neurological breakdown, there's nothing we can do to reverse it.
Jesus. Okay, so I want to ask about something else I keep hearing. This livestock theory, that this came from pigs or cows or something. Is that real? Or is that just people trying to find something to blame?
It's a legitimate line of investigation. Zoonotic diseases that jump from animals to humans, they're not uncommon. We've seen it with bird flu, swine flu, Ebola came from bats. Rabies itself is zoonotic. Fairfield is a farming community with significant livestock operations. If you're looking for a source, that's a reasonable place to start.
But do you think that's actually where this came from?
Honestly, I don't know. It's plausible. Some animal viruses can mutate and become infectious to humans, but what concerns me is how efficient this is at spreading between humans now. Even if it started in livestock, it's clearly adapted to human transmission in a way that's unusual for a newly emerged pathogen.
What do you mean unusual?
Most zoonotic diseases when they first jump to humans, they're not great at human-to-human transmission. It takes time for them to adapt, to figure out how to spread efficiently in their new host. This thing, it's spreading like it was designed for humans. Now, I'm not saying it was designed, I'm just saying the efficiency is remarkable and, frankly, alarming.
Okay, so you mentioned containment being difficult. Like, we've got the National Guard setting up checkpoints, quarantine zones, all this stuff. Is that going to work? Can they actually contain this?
I wish I could give you a more optimistic answer. The problem is, this spreads too fast, and infected individuals are mobile. By the time someone shows symptoms, they may have already been in contact with dozens of people, and those people won't show symptoms for a few hours, so they pass through checkpoints looking healthy. Then they transform later in supposedly safe areas. Traditional quarantine works when you have a slow-moving disease with a long incubation period. You can identify, isolate, and contain before it spreads. But this is moving faster than our containment procedures were designed to handle.
So what you're saying is, we're not containing it.
I'm saying containment is failing. If this continues at the current rate, we're looking at societal collapse in affected areas within weeks, not months, weeks.
That's pretty dark, man.
It's reality. People need to understand what we're facing. This isn't something that's going to blow over. This isn't going to be managed with business as usual. People need to prepare. They need to have plans. They need to take this seriously.
All right, so if you were giving advice to someone listening right now, someone who's not in Pennsylvania but is worried about this spreading, what would you tell them?
Stock up on essentials, food, water, medicine. Have at least 2 weeks worth, preferably more. Avoid large gatherings and crowded places where disease spreads easily. If this reaches your area, stay home, limit contact with others, and do not, under any circumstances, approach someone who's showing signs of infection. If you see someone exhibiting extreme aggression, confusion, that gray or greenish skin tone that's been reported, get away from them immediately and call authorities. Don't try to help them. Don't try to restrain them. Just get to safety and let professionals handle it. And this is important. Trust no one who says they're fine. By the time someone admits they're not feeling well, they may only have minutes before transformation. If someone's been exposed, even if they look okay, maintain distance until you're sure.
God, that's grim. That's end of the world level advice. Dr. Roger Thornhill, we're facing an end of the world level situation in parts of Pennsylvania right now. I'm not trying to be dramatic. I'm trying to be honest. People who are prepared, who take this seriously, they're going to have a much better chance of surviving this than people who assume the government's going to save them. Dr. Roger Thornhill, thank you for being real with us. I think people needed to hear this from someone who actually knows what they're talking about.
Thank you for having me, Carl. And to everyone listening, please stay safe.
All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, I don't know, man. I might just need a minute to process that. Stay with us.
Good evening, I'm Bill Kennedy. Pennsylvania Governor Ed Rendell has declared a state of emergency affecting 8 counties, the largest emergency declaration in the state's history. The declaration gives the governor sweeping powers to mobilize resources, restrict movement, and coordinate with federal agencies. Tonight, we're joined by Francis Redfield, a coordinator with the Federal Emergency Management Agency, who's been working on the ground in Pennsylvania. Mr. Redfield, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me, Bill.
Let me start by asking about these FEMA evacuation centers that have been set up. How many people are you currently sheltering?
We've established 5 major evacuation centers across central Pennsylvania with capacity for approximately 15,000 individuals. As of this afternoon, we're sheltering just over 9,000 evacuees. We're working around the clock to ensure these facilities have adequate supplies, medical support, and security.
Security. Can you elaborate on that? What kind of security measures are in place at these centers?
Standard security measures for emergency shelters. We have local law enforcement presence, National Guard support, and we're conducting health screenings for all incoming evacuees. Our priority is maintaining a safe environment for the families who've been displaced by this health emergency.
I want to show our viewers some footage that's been circulating on social media. This was reportedly taken yesterday at a checkpoint outside the quarantine zone. I have to warn you, some viewers may find this disturbing. Mr. Redfield, this video appears to show someone attacking National Guard soldiers at a checkpoint. The person appears to have been shot multiple times. Can you comment on this?
I'm not familiar with that specific incident. What I can tell you is that our personnel, both civilian and military, are following established procedures for managing individuals experiencing acute symptoms. The safety of our responders and the unaffected population is paramount.
But Mr. Redfield, the video shows what appears to be someone being killed. Are soldiers authorized to use lethal force against American citizens?
I want to be very careful with language here. We're not talking about citizens in a traditional sense. We're talking about individuals experiencing severe neurological symptoms that cause them to pose an immediate threat to others. Our first response is always de-escalation. But when someone is actively attacking personnel or other civilians, appropriate force may be necessary.
With respect, that sounds like you're saying infected people are no longer considered citizens with rights.
That's not what I'm saying at all. What I'm saying is that we're in an unprecedented situation. We're dealing with individuals who, due to this infection, are exhibiting extreme violence. We have to balance their rights with the safety of everyone else. It's not a simple calculus.
We've also been receiving reports that some evacuees at FEMA centers are being held against their will. Is there any truth to that?
Evacuees at our facilities are there for their own protection and the protection of others. We're asking people to remain at the centers while we conduct thorough health screenings. This is standard procedure for infectious disease outbreaks. We need to ensure that anyone leaving the facilities is not carrying the infection to unaffected areas.
How long are people being required to stay?
It varies based on individual assessment. We're looking at exposure history, symptom presentation, time since potential exposure. Some people may be cleared within 48 hours, others may need to remain under observation longer.
Mr. Redfield, I want to ask you directly. The government has been calling this a flu outbreak, but everything we're seeing, the violent behavior, the rapid transmission, the military response, this doesn't look like any flu outbreak. What are we really dealing with?
We're dealing with a serious infectious disease outbreak. The exact pathogen is still being identified by the Civil Emergency and Defense Agency. What I can tell you is that we're treating this with the gravity it deserves. We've mobilized federal resources, we're coordinating with state and local authorities, and we're doing everything possible to contain the spread and protect the public.
But you're not calling it flu.
I'm using the terminology that's been provided by health officials. The important thing is not what we call it, but how we respond to it. And I can assure you, the federal government is taking this extremely seriously.
We're seeing reports now that cases have been confirmed in New Jersey, Maryland, Delaware, and possibly New York. How do you contain something that's spreading across state lines?
We're working with governors in all affected states to coordinate response efforts. The situation is, it's evolving rapidly, and we're adapting our strategies as we learn more. What I want to emphasize to your viewers is that following official guidance is critical. If you're told to evacuate, evacuate. If you're told to shelter in place, shelter in place. Don't try to make your own decisions based on rumors or unverified information on social media.
Speaking of social media, there are numerous videos and eyewitness accounts being posted that seem to contradict official statements. People are saying this infection causes rapid transformation, violent behavior, that it's spreading much faster than authorities are admitting. How do you respond to that?
Social media is not a reliable source of information during emergencies. People are scared, they're posting things without context, videos that may be from different incidents or different time periods. We're asking the public not to spread unverified footage that may cause unnecessary panic. Trust official sources. Trust your local emergency management. Trust FEMA and CETA.
But Mr. Redfield, when official sources are saying it's flu and everyone on the ground is saying it's something worse, who should people believe?
They should believe the experts who are actually studying this pathogen, who have access to laboratory data, who understand infectious disease. I understand there's fear and confusion. That's natural in any emergency. But spreading misinformation doesn't help anyone. It makes our job harder and it puts more people at risk.
Francis Redfield from FEMA, thank you for your time tonight.
Thank you, Bill.
Cell phone networks in the affected areas are now largely non-functional due to overload and infrastructure damage. Internet service is sporadic. Radio remains the most reliable form of communication for those still in the quarantine zones. Multiple hospitals in the region have been evacuated or abandoned. The extent of casualties is still unknown. We'll continue monitoring this situation. If you have family or friends in the affected areas and have lost contact, FEMA has established a hotline for information on evacuees and shelter locations. That number is 1-800-555-FEMA. More after this break.
This is the emergency alert system. This is not a test. The President of the United States has declared a federal emergency for the following states: Pennsylvania, New Jersey, New York, Delaware, and Maryland. Mandatory evacuation orders are now in effect for all residents within designated quarantine zones. A biological health crisis is spreading rapidly throughout the eastern United States. The pathogen is transmitted through direct contact with infected individuals or their bodily fluids. Transformation occurs rapidly, often within minutes of exposure. Military forces are establishing secure perimeters around affected metropolitan areas. Residents within quarantine zones must evacuate immediately. Follow marked evacuation routes to designated FEMA processing centers. Do not attempt to cross quarantine boundaries at unofficial checkpoints. Air travel is suspended nationwide. Interstate highways in affected regions are restricted to authorized personnel only. Fuel rationing is in effect. If you encounter infected individuals, do not engage. Leave the area immediately. Infected persons exhibit extreme aggression and are attracted to loud sounds. Remain quiet. Secure your location. Wait for military assistance. All residents outside quarantine zones should stockpile water, non-perishable food, and medical supplies for a minimum of 14 days. Further restrictions may be implemented without notice. This has been a message from the Federal Emergency Management Agency. Comply with all military and law enforcement directives. Your safety depends on it.
We interrupt this program for a special address from the President of the United States.
My fellow Americans, good evening. Look, I'm not going to sugarcoat this. I'm speaking to you tonight from the Oval Office about a serious, and I mean serious, health emergency that's affecting several states in our nation. Now, over the past week, we've been monitoring an outbreak of infectious disease in Pennsylvania and the surrounding areas. And tonight, I want to be straight with you about what we're doing, what you need to know, and more importantly, how we're going to get through this together. Let me be clear. Let me be absolutely clear about what we're facing here. This is, without question, an unprecedented health crisis. We're dealing with a pathogen that spreads rapidly, causes severe symptoms, and quite frankly, has our best scientists at the Civil Emergency and Defense Agency and the National Institutes of Health working around the clock, pulling all-nighters, trying to identify exactly what this is and how to treat it. Now, what I can tell you, and I want to be very clear about this, is that this is serious. It requires a coordinated federal response. And that's exactly what you're going to get this afternoon I signed an emergency declaration that mobilizes, and I mean mobilizes, the full resources of the federal government to combat this outbreak. We're deploying additional military personnel to affected areas. We're establishing field hospitals. We're working with state governors, Democrats and Republicans alike, to ensure that everyone, and I mean everyone, who needs help gets help. FEMA is on the ground right now coordinating evacuations and establishing safe zones. The Department of Homeland Security is securing our borders to prevent the spread to neighboring regions. Now, I know there's a lot of fear out there. And let me tell you, I get it. I know families have been separated. People have lost contact with loved ones. There's confusion about what's really happening. Let me tell you what I know. Our military, our first responders, our healthcare workers, these brave men and women are out there right now, as we speak, doing everything, and I mean everything, humanly possible to protect American lives. They're risking their own safety, their own lives, to help others. And I have complete confidence in their ability to handle this situation. We've activated martial law in the affected counties. Now, I want to be straight with you. I want to be absolutely straight with you about what that means. It means military authority supersedes civilian authority in those areas. It means mandatory evacuations, mandatory quarantines, and yes, restrictions on your movement. Look, I don't make these decisions lightly. These aren't easy calls. But when American lives are at stake, when your lives are at stake, we do what we have to do, what we must do to keep people safe. To those of you in the affected areas, I need you to follow the instructions of local authorities and military personnel. If you're told to evacuate, go to the designated evacuation points. Don't. And I can't stress this enough. Don't try to leave through unofficial routes. Don't try to avoid checkpoints, the screening procedures. They're there to protect you and everyone else. If you're told to shelter in place, stay indoors, lock your doors, and wait for further instructions. I know it's hard, but that's what we need you to do. For Americans in unaffected areas, I need you, I'm asking you, to stay calm and stay informed. Follow the guidance from your local health departments. Stock up on basic supplies, but please don't panic buy. Look out for your neighbors, especially elderly folks and people with health conditions. And here's the thing, listen to official sources of information, not rumors on the internet, not some blog, not some conspiracy theorist on YouTube. Now, I want to address something directly, something I've been seeing. I've seen some of the videos circulating online. I've heard the conspiracy theories. Let me be clear. Let me be absolutely clear. There is no cover-up here. We're being as transparent as we can be while still maintaining order and public safety. Yes, this situation is evolving, and it's evolving rapidly. Yes, we're learning new information every single day, but we're sharing what we know as soon as we know it. That's our commitment to you. Look, some people, they're comparing this to things they've seen in movies. 28 days later, Dawn of the Dead, Resident Evil, I get it. They're talking about zombie outbreaks or apocalypse scenarios, and I understand why those comparisons are being made. But let me tell you something. This is not a video game. This isn't Call of Duty. This isn't Resident Evil where you can just respawn at a checkpoint. This is real life. And in real life, we have established procedures. We have the finest emergency response system in the world. The absolute finest. We've dealt with pandemics before. We've dealt with natural disasters. We've dealt with terrorist attacks. And we've always come through stronger on the other side. The kind of coordination we need right now, it's like Avengers-level coordination between all our agencies, right? Everyone working together, CDA, Department of Defense, Homeland Security, everyone doing their part, everyone bringing their unique skills to the table, because that's what it takes to win this fight. And that's exactly what we're doing. Now, I'm also working with leaders of other nations to ensure this doesn't spread beyond our borders. Some countries, they've already restricted travel from the United States. I understand their concerns. Look, we're doing the same thing internally, restricting movement from affected areas. This is about containment, smart containment, not about fear or prejudice. This is about science and public health. To the families who've lost loved ones, to those who don't know where their family members are right now, to everyone who's scared, who's worried, who doesn't know what tomorrow brings, I want you to know, I need you to know that you're not alone in this. We are all of us, in this together. Americans have faced enormous challenges throughout our history. We've faced depression, world wars, terrorism, and we've never backed down. We've never given up. And we're not going to start now. I want to be honest with you about something, because you deserve honesty. The situation in Pennsylvania and the surrounding areas, it's severe. We've had casualties, We've had losses, real losses, American lives lost, and I won't lie to you, it's going to get harder before it gets better. But here's what I know. I have faith, deep faith, in the American people. I have faith in our scientists, our military, our first responders, the best in the world. We will contain this outbreak. We will protect our citizens. We will prevail. God bless you. God bless your families. And God bless the United States of America.
That was President Barack Obama speaking from the Oval Office. Again, the president has declared a national emergency and activated martial law in affected counties. We'll have analysis of the president's remarks coming up. Good evening. We're continuing our coverage of what authorities are now calling the most serious public health crisis in American history. Tonight, the city of Philadelphia is under complete quarantine. Military forces have established what they're calling a hard perimeter around the entire metropolitan area. And we're getting reports that are, frankly, difficult to process. Our correspondent Zoe Loomis has been reporting from just outside the quarantine line all day. Zoe, what can you tell us?
Bill, I don't even know where to start. I'm about 2 miles outside what used to be the northern edge of Philadelphia, and behind me, if our camera could pan that direction, you'd see the Ben Franklin Bridge, or what's left of it. The Army Corps of Engineers brought down the center span about 3 hours ago. They've done the same to every major bridge leading into the city, the Betsy Ross, the Walt Whitman, the Tacony Palmyra, all of them gone. They've also blocked every highway with concrete barriers and abandoned vehicles that they've deliberately positioned to create choke points. The military presence here is unlike anything I've seen. National Guard units, regular Army, Marines, heavy weapons, 50 caliber machine guns, armored vehicles, and Bill, all of them are facing inward toward the city. They're not trying to keep people out. They're trying to keep something in.
Zoe, we're seeing images now from earlier today of crowds at those checkpoints. Can you describe what you witnessed?
It was chaos, Bill. Thousands of people trying to get out before the perimeter closed, families with children, elderly folks, people on foot carrying whatever they could. The soldiers were trying to process them, checking for bites, for scratches, any sign of exposure, but there were just too many. I spoke with several evacuees before they were moved to processing centers. One woman, she'd been trying to leave for 2 days. She said the infection is spreading block by block through the city, that people are transforming in minutes, not hours. She watched her neighbor, a man she'd known for 15 years, turn into one of those things right in front of her, said he was complaining about feeling sick. And then 30 seconds later, he was trying to break down her door.
We're also receiving reports that some people are still trapped inside the quarantine zone. We have someone on the line now who's been trying to reach us. Ma'am, can you hear me?
Yes. Yes, I can hear you. I called before, from Fairfield. I'm in Philadelphia now.
You were in Fairfield when the outbreak started there. How did you end up in Philadelphia?
I tried to evacuate. We all did. 3 days ago. Got as far as the city before the roads became impassable. Cars everywhere. Accidents. People abandoning vehicles and running on foot. We thought we could hole up in an apartment building until it cleared. It didn't clear. There are 7 of us here now. It was 9 this morning. We're on the 4th floor of a building on Market Street. Boarded up the stairwell, pushed furniture against the door. We can hear them down there. Dozens of them, maybe more. Sometimes they're quiet, just standing around. Other times they start screaming, all at once like they're communicating or something.
Are you running low on supplies?
We've got maybe 2 days of food left. Water's not an issue yet because the building still has pressure, but I don't know how long that'll last. We've been rationing everything. The worst part is the nights. We can hear screaming from other buildings, people calling for help, and we can't. We can't do anything. If we go out there, if we make noise, they come. Last night I watched from the window. There were hundreds of them in the street below, just milling around, waiting. Then a car alarm went off about 3 blocks away. Every single one of them, they all turned at once and started running toward the sound, sprinting. Like Olympic athletes. They were out of sight in less than a minute. We heard gunfire after that. Lasted maybe 30 seconds. Then nothing.
Is there any help coming? Any military presence inside the zone?
We saw helicopters yesterday. Military ones. They were flying over, but they weren't landing. One of them had a loudspeaker telling people to stay inside. That help was coming. But I don't think it is, Bill. I think they've written off everyone inside this perimeter.
We're gonna try to get your location to authorities. Stay on the line if you can. Zoe Loomis, you're still outside the perimeter. What's the military saying about rescue operations inside the zone?
Officially, they're saying they're evaluating options. Unofficially, I spoke with a National Guard lieutenant who told me his unit took 50% casualties trying to extract civilians from a school near the city center yesterday. He said, and I'm quoting here, "There's no safe way in and there's no safe way out." The rules of engagement have changed too. Soldiers are authorized to fire on anyone exhibiting symptoms. And Bill, the definition of symptoms is pretty broad now. Anyone who's erratic, anyone who won't comply with orders, anyone who approaches the perimeter from inside the zone, they're not taking chances. I watched them turn away a family about an hour ago. Mother, father, 2 kids. The father had a bandage on his arm, said he cut it on broken glass. The medical screener wouldn't even look at it, just ordered them back. The father started arguing, said his kids needed help, and 4 soldiers moved in with weapons raised. The family turned around and walked back toward the city.
Good God, I'm getting word that you need to evacuate your position. Can you confirm?
Yes, we're being ordered to pull back. Military says the perimeter is contracting. They're moving the line farther out. We need to, hold on, I'm hearing something. There's gunfire, automatic weapons fire. It's coming from inside the perimeter, maybe half a mile in. I can see there's smoke rising over the buildings. Multiple fires burning. The soldiers here are getting agitated. They're telling us to leave now. Bill, we have to go. We have to go right now.
Get to safety. Go, we'll follow up with you when you're clear.
The convoy's moving. We're pulling out. I can still hear the gunfire. It's getting closer. Oh God, there's people running toward the perimeter from inside the city. The soldiers they're taking up positions. They're not letting them through. They're not.
Zoe, are you there? We've lost contact with our field reporter. We're going to try to reestablish that connection to our caller who's trapped inside Philadelphia. Are you still with us?
I'm here. We all heard that gunfire. It's maybe 10 blocks from our position. They're pushing this direction.
Who's pushing?
All of them. The infected. Thousands of them. It's like they move in waves. Something attracts them. Gunfire, explosions, people screaming, and they all converge on it. Then when there's nothing left, they spread out again, looking for the next sound, the next victim. We've been watching the pattern for 3 days now. That's how we're still alive. We stay quiet. We don't move. We wait. But the circle is getting smaller. Every time they surge toward something, some of them don't leave. They just stay in that area, standing guard, like they're claiming territory. Pretty soon there won't be anywhere left to hide.
We're going to do everything we can to get help to you. Stay on the line. I need to take a moment here. Ladies and gentlemen, what we're witnessing in Philadelphia is unprecedented. A major American city has been sealed off. Hundreds of thousands of people, possibly millions, trapped inside a military cordon. And we simply don't know what the plan is for them. We're going to continue our coverage throughout the night. We'll bring you updates as soon as we have them. If you're in the greater Philadelphia area, please follow all evacuation orders immediately. If you're elsewhere in the eastern states, stay tuned to local emergency broadcasts for instructions. We'll have more on this developing situation right after this break.
This is K9 Mike Bravo calling K7 Charlie Romeo. Charlie Romeo. Do you copy? Over.
K9 Mike Bravo. This is Charlie Romeo. I copy you loud and clear. Go ahead. Over.
Charlie Romeo? I'm trying to get my family out of the Westwood neighborhood. We attempted Route 30 about an hour ago, but it's completely blocked. Burned out vehicles, maybe 20 of them, and I saw some of those things wandering around the wreckage. Had to turn back. Can you advise on alternate routes? Over.
Copy that, Mike Bravo. Let me check my map. Okay. I'm marking Route 30 as a no-go. Try the back roads. County Line Road should still be clear. That'll take you north around the worst of it. Be advised, though. I'm hearing from other operators that infected are moving into the rural areas now. They're spreading out from the cities. Over.
Understood. I'm running low on fuel. We've got maybe a quarter tank left. Is there anywhere safe to stop? Anywhere that might have gas? Over.
There's a truck stop at the intersection of County Line and Old Mill Road. Last I heard it was still operational, but that was yesterday morning. No guarantees. Mike Bravo, I have to warn you, that area might be compromised. I lost contact with an operator near there about 6 hours ago. He just stopped transmitting mid-sentence. Over.
Charlie Romeo, I don't have a choice. We can't make it to the FEMA camp without fuel. It's me, my wife, and 2 kids, ages 7 and 9. We've been holed up in our house for 4 days, but they found us last night. Started pounding on the doors, breaking windows. We barely got out. Over.
I understand. I've got family, too. Or, I had family. Lost contact with my brother 2 days ago. He was in Baltimore when the quarantine went up. Listen to me, Mike Bravo. When you're on the move, keep your engine noise down as much as you can. These things are attracted to sound. Avoid the highways where sound carries. Stick to residential streets if possible. And if you see a horde, do not try to drive through it. Find another way. Over.
Roger that. We had a close call this morning. We were driving through a suburban area, completely quiet, and then a car alarm went off about 2 blocks away. Within 30 seconds there must have been hundreds of them. They came running from everywhere, all converging on that sound. We killed the engine and just sat there frozen while they ran past us. Charlie Romeo, I've never been so scared in my life. Over to...
You did the right thing. They respond to sound and movement. If you stay still and quiet, sometimes they'll pass right by. I've been coordinating with other operators across the region. We're all sharing information, marking safe routes, warning about danger zones. The FEMA camp at the old fairgrounds, that might still be operational. It was secure as of yesterday. Military checkpoint at the Route 12 bridge was also holding. But Mike Bravo, things are changing fast. What's secure one day is overrun the next. Over.
What about you, Charlie Romeo? Where are you transmitting from? Are you safe? Over.
I'm about 40 miles north of your position. Got lucky, I guess. My neighborhood hasn't been hit yet, but I can see the glow from fires to the south. At night, it looks like the whole horizon is burning. I'm staying put for now, keeping this radio station active, trying to help folks like you navigate out. Somebody's got to maintain the network. Over.
You're doing good work. Charlie Romeo. If we don't make it.
Stop. You're going to make it. You've got kids counting on you, and you've got intel now. Take County Line Road. Move fast but quiet. Avoid major intersections. Keep your family low in the vehicle. And Mike Bravo, trust your instincts. If something feels wrong, it probably is. Don't second guess yourself. Over.
Thank you. I mean that. We're going to try for the truck stop now while we still have some daylight left. Can we check in with you in, say, 2 hours? Over.
Absolutely. I'll be monitoring this frequency. 2 hours. And Mike Bravo, good luck. Keep your family close. Stay quiet and keep moving. You hear me? Keep moving. Over.
Roger that, Charlie Romeo. We're moving out now. K9 Mike Bravo. Out.
K7 Charlie Romeo out. Stay safe out there.
Good evening. The situation has deteriorated significantly in the past 48 hours. We're now looking at infection across approximately half of the eastern United States. Multiple major cities are under quarantine: Philadelphia, Trenton, Baltimore, Newark, and as of this afternoon, portions of New York City. The scale of this crisis has exceeded anything in modern American history. We're going live now to correspondent Nick Chambers, who's outside Manhattan as officials there prepare for what may be a full borough quarantine. Nick?
Bill, I'm in Jersey City, looking across the Hudson River at Manhattan. Behind me, you'd see the skyline. But I want you to notice something. Half the buildings are dark, no lights. The power grid is failing in sections of the city, and authorities are saying it's not just equipment failure, it's infrastructure collapse. There's nobody left to run the power plants, the water treatment facilities, the communication hubs. The bridges into Manhattan are blocked now, not destroyed like Philadelphia, but barricaded with military checkpoints that are barely holding. I watched the Lincoln Tunnel checkpoint get overrun about 2 hours ago. Not by infected, by people, desperate civilians trying to get out before the quarantine becomes absolute. The National Guard fired warning shots, and when that didn't stop the crowd, they fired into it. I don't know how many casualties there were, but the checkpoint is abandoned now. The soldiers fell back to a secondary position about a mile out. They're giving up ground, Bill, ceding territory without a fight because they can't hold it.
Nick, we're getting reports that the infection isn't just spreading geographically, but also intensifying in areas that were already affected. Can you speak to that?
Absolutely. The cities that went under quarantine last week, Philadelphia, Trenton, parts of Baltimore, those aren't quarantine zones anymore. They're dead zones. No communication coming out, no movement, no signs of organized resistance. The military perimeters are still in place, but they're facing outward now. Nobody's trying to rescue anyone inside. It's pure containment. Those cities are lost.
We have Dr. Ellis Doyle joining us again from the Civil Emergency and Defense Agency. Dr. Doyle, we spoke with you on day 3 of this crisis. You've been studying this pathogen for nearly 2 weeks now. What can you tell us?
Well, I'm not going to sugarcoat this. Containment has failed. We're in damage mitigation now, not prevention. What we're dealing with is a pathogen that transforms human behavior in minutes, spreads through bodily fluid contact, and has no known treatment. This isn't influenza. This was never influenza. The transmission rate is unlike anything in the medical literature. One infected individual can create dozens of new infections in hours. Those dozens create hundreds. It's exponential, and it's faster than any disease model we have. By the time we identify an outbreak cluster, it's already spread to surrounding areas.
What about the theory that this originated in livestock? We've heard that mentioned repeatedly.
It's plausible. The earliest cases we can trace back were in rural Pennsylvania farming communities. The behavioral symptoms, the neurological impact, the rapid onset, they're all consistent with the rabies family virus that jumped species, but we don't have confirmation. We may never have confirmation because the facilities where we do that research they're either evacuated or overrun.
Doctor, I need to ask you directly, is there any hope of stopping this?
Stopping it? No. We're past that point. What we're hoping for now is to slow the spread enough to evacuate uninfected populations from threatened areas and establish defensible zones where the infrastructure can be maintained. But Bill, I need to be honest. We're losing this fight. Every day we lose more ground, more people, more resources.
We also have Colonel Blake Wesker with us, our military analyst. Colonel, we've seen massive troop deployments over the past week. What's the assessment from a tactical standpoint?
We're fighting a war on American soil against American citizens. And it's not a war we're equipped to win. The standard rules of engagement don't apply here. The enemy doesn't take cover, doesn't retreat, doesn't surrender. They come straight at you in waves, and the only way to stop them is to destroy them completely. Our casualties have been substantial. I can't give you exact numbers because command doesn't have exact numbers. Units are going dark, communication is breaking down, and we're getting reports of soldiers refusing orders, not refusing to fight, refusing to fire on civilians, because that's what these are. Bill, they were civilians, they were Americans, and now we're being asked to kill them by the thousands.
Colonel, your voice sounds different than when we spoke last week.
Last week I believed in the mission I believe we could contain this, protect the population, maintain order. This week I'm watching good people die. Trained soldiers, Marines, National Guard kids who signed up to help with hurricanes and floods. And we're not winning, Bill. We're not even holding our ground. We're losing.
Dr. Doyle, we're getting reports, unconfirmed reports, of infected that are behaving differently, larger, faster, more aggressive than the others. Can you address that?
We've heard those reports too, mostly from combat personnel under extreme stress. It's difficult to verify anything coming out of the hot zones right now. What I can tell you is that viruses mutate, especially RNA viruses like this appears to be. If there are variants developing, that would be concerning. But I don't have hard data on it.
Colonel Wesker, have your people reported anything unusual?
I've got squad leaders telling me they're seeing things that don't match the standard profile. But Bill, these guys are running on no sleep, fighting for days straight, watching their friends die. Combat stress makes people see things. I'm not dismissing it, but I'm not confirming it either.
We're also getting word that the international community has responded to this crisis. Nick Chambers, what can you tell us about that?
The European Union closed its airspace to all flights originating from the United States this morning. Canada sealed the border. Mexico has troops on their northern frontier. The UN Security Council held an emergency session, and the language they used was, "Bill, they're treating us like a biological threat, not a nation in crisis, but a threat to global security." There are reports, unconfirmed, of naval vessels from multiple countries establishing a cordon in international waters off our coast, not to help, to observe, to make sure this doesn't spread beyond our borders. We're alone in this.
Dr. Doyle, one more question. The carriers, the people who are immune, is there any progress on understanding why they don't transform?
We believe it's genetic, some combination of factors that makes approximately 1 to 2% of the population resistant to the pathogen. But here's the critical issue, Bill. Carriers don't show symptoms, but they can still transmit. They're walking vectors. An immune person can have the pathogen in their bloodstream, in their saliva, and spread it to non-immune individuals through close contact, which makes them incredibly valuable for research and incredibly dangerous in the field.
So they're both the solution and part of the problem.
Exactly. And many are hiding because they're afraid. But every carrier in the general population is a potential transmission risk we can't track.
Ladies and gentlemen, what we've heard tonight is, I don't have words for it. We've essentially been told that containment has failed, that the eastern seaboard is lost, and that the international community has quarantined the entire United States. If you're in an affected area, please follow evacuation orders immediately. If you're elsewhere, prepare for the possibility that this infection will reach your community. We don't know how to stop it. We don't know if it can be stopped. We'll continue our coverage throughout the night. Stay with us for updates and please stay safe. We'll be right back.
Brothers and sisters, if you can hear my voice, then you are among the few remaining. I'm broadcasting this sermon from the basement of what was once First Methodist Church on Elm Street. The doors are barricaded, the windows are broken, and outside, the dead walk the earth. No, not the dead. That's not accurate. These are the damned, the infected, the carriers of plague. And I tell you now, as I have studied the scripture every night by candlelight while the screams echo through the streets, this is the end of days foretold in the book of Revelation. John wrote of the first seal being opened, and behold, a white horse, and he who sat on it had a bow, and he went out conquering. We have been conquered. not by armies, not by nations, but by a plague that transforms men into beasts, a plague that spreads faster than wildfire, a plague that has brought the mightiest nation on earth to its knees in a matter of days. The second seal, the red horse, take peace from the earth, and that people should kill one another. Have we not seen this? Have we not watched neighbor turn against neighbor, families torn apart, the military firing upon civilians, the strong devouring the weak? Peace has been taken from us, and in its place is chaos and slaughter. The third seal, the black horse, famine and scarcity. I have 1 can of beans left, 1 bottle of water. The grocery stores were looted days ago. The power is gone. The refrigerators are silent tombs of rotting food, and those who venture out to search for supplies, they don't come back. But it is the fourth seal that haunts me most, the pale horse. And the name of him who sat upon it was Death, and hell followed with him. I have seen this horse, brothers and sisters. I have watched it ride through our streets. I have heard its hoofbeats in the night, the pounding on doors, the breaking of glass, the screams of the taken. Some of you may be listening and thinking, this is divine judgment. We are being punished for our sins. And perhaps there is truth in that. We turned from God. We embraced violence in our entertainment. We celebrated vice and mocked virtue. We built towers of steel and glass and thought ourselves masters of creation. And now creation has reminded us that we are not masters, we are dust, and to dust we shall return. But I want you to listen carefully to what I say next. We are past the point of repentance, past the point of redemption. The time for that was weeks ago, months ago, years ago. Now we face only judgment, and that judgment is absolute. I have heard reports, fragmentary reports on the radio before the stations went dark of new types of infected, twisted forms, abominations. One man described something massive, 8 feet tall, that tore through a wall of concrete like paper. Another spoke of infected that exploded when killed, showering all nearby with corruption. Still another told of things with impossibly long tongues that dragged victims from safety. Brothers and sisters, these are demons. I don't care what the scientists call them. I don't care about viruses or pathogens or mutations. These are demons walking the earth. The veil between our world and hell has been torn open, and what pours through is damnation itself. So what now? What are we to do in these final hours? I will tell you, make peace with your God. If you have sinned, and we all have sinned, confess those sins in your heart. Ask for forgiveness, not because it will save your life, but because it may save your soul. We cannot escape what is coming. The cities are fallen, the government is scattered, the military is broken. There is no rescue coming, no safe zone, no evacuation. There is only the end. But hear this. The Lord is with you in your fear. He is with you in your hiding place. He is with you when you hear the pounding at your door. The 23rd Psalm says, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. We are in that valley now, brothers and sisters. We are surrounded by shadow and death, and our only comfort is that we do not walk alone. I am not telling you to surrender. If you can fight, fight. If you can run, run. If you can hide, hide. Survival is not a sin, but do not fool yourself into thinking that survival is victory. This world as we knew it is gone. What comes after, if anything comes after, will be built on the ashes of what we've lost. I'm broadcasting this sermon because I don't know how many more I'll be able to give. The infected have been circling this building for 2 days. I've rationed my food, I've rationed my water, but I cannot ration time. Eventually they will find a way in. They always do. When that moment comes, I will meet it with prayer on my lips and faith in my heart. I encourage you to do the same. We cannot control our circumstances. We can only control our response to them. Choose faith over fear. Choose dignity over despair. Choose hope, even when hope seems foolish. I want to close with this. To those of you who are listening, huddled in your basements, hiding in your attics, barricaded in your homes, know this: you are not alone. There are others like you, scattered across this fallen land, praying, hoping, surviving. And somewhere, somehow, God is watching over us all. May the Lord bless you and keep you. May He make His face shine upon you and be gracious unto you. May He lift up His countenance upon you and give you peace. Amen. This may be my final broadcast. If you're hearing this, I pray you find safety. I pray you find others. And I pray, brothers and sisters, that when the end comes for you, as it must come for us all, you face it with courage and with faith. God have mercy on us. God have mercy on us all. We are in His hands now.
For those just finding this frequency, this is Bill Kennedy, formerly of Channel 6 News. We're broadcasting on emergency band 107.3 because we're still here. The television station was evacuated yesterday afternoon. Most of the staff is gone. Some headed west, some to FEMA camps, some I don't know where. I'm transmitting from what used to be our radio affiliate studio, generator power, limited supplies. But we're going to keep broadcasting as long as we can, as long as there's anyone out there listening. Today we need to talk about something that leaked from the Civil Emergency and Defense Agency this morning. A document that confirms what many have suspected: there are people who are immune to the infection. They're calling them carriers. Approximately 1 to 2% of the population who can be exposed to the pathogen and never transform. And the government wants them. We have a federal official on the line. I'm not using his name because, frankly, I don't think names matter much anymore. Sir, can you tell us about this carrier identification program?
Bill, look, I'm going to be more honest with you than I could be on camera. The carrier program it's complicated. These individuals represent our best chance at understanding immunity. But there's another factor. Carriers can still spread the pathogen. They're asymptomatic, but they're contagious. A carrier interacting with non-immune survivors can infect an entire group without anyone knowing until it's too late.
So the government wants them for research and containment?
Exactly. We're making impossible choices here, Bill. Do we respect individual liberty while millions die? Or do we isolate carriers who could unknowingly spread the infection? I don't have a good answer for that. Nobody does.
What does protective custody mean in practice?
It means we're bringing confirmed carriers to secure facilities where they can be studied, where they're safe from the infected and from people who might want to harm them.
Harm them? Why would anyone harm them?
Because they're immune, Bill. But more than that, they can still spread it. You're in a survivor group. Everyone's terrified of infection. And you find out someone in your group is a carrier who could be silently transmitting to everyone around them. How long before desperate people see carriers as walking time bombs? Resources to exploit or threats to eliminate.
So you're protecting them?
And studying them, yes. I know how that sounds. I know the ethical implications. But Bill, we're losing. We're losing everywhere. The eastern seaboard is gone. Infection is spreading west. The government has relocated to continuity sites. We're down to triage decisions. Who do we save? What areas do we defend? Carriers might be humanity's only chance.
We're taking calls from listeners. Let me go to caller. You're on the air.
I think I'm one of them. A carrier. I was bitten 4 days ago, scratched by one of those things when I was running from my apartment. I cleaned the wound, wrapped it up, and waited to die. But I didn't. I didn't get sick. I didn't turn. Does that mean I'm immune?
Based on what we know, yes. If you were exposed and didn't transform, you're likely a carrier. Have you reported this to authorities?
No, and I'm not going to. I've heard what happens to people who do. They disappear, get taken to labs, and nobody hears from them again. I'm not going to be a lab rat while my family is still out there somewhere.
Ma'am, I understand your fear, but please, if you come forward voluntarily, you'll be treated with respect. We need your help to end this.
You can't end this. Nobody can. I'm staying hidden, and I'm telling anyone else who's immune to do the same. Don't trust them. They'll lock you up and throw away the key.
Thank you for calling. We have another caller on the line.
I'm calling from a shelter in what's left of Newark. We've got maybe 30 people here. 3 of them are confirmed carriers. We know because they've been exposed multiple times and never got sick. Yesterday, a government team tried to take them. Showed up with soldiers. Said it was mandatory. Our people refused to let them go. The soldiers threatened to use force. We almost had a shootout between Americans. Over 3 people who aren't even sick.
What happened?
The soldiers backed down, said they'd return with authorization. But here's the thing. Those 3 carriers, they're doctors. They're treating people here, saving lives. If the government takes them, everyone in this shelter is probably dead within a week. So yeah, we're gonna protect them, even from our own government.
That's a difficult situation. I understand why you'd want to keep medical personnel, but the research these carriers could contribute might save thousands, millions.
Might, maybe, possibly. Meanwhile, people are dying now, here, in front of me. And you want me to give up the only doctors we have for a chance at a vaccine that probably won't exist for years? No, we're keeping them.
Thank you for calling. What we're hearing is conflict. The government sees carriers as crucial research subjects. Survivors see them as people, as doctors, as family, as friends. And nobody trusts anyone anymore.
Bill, I want to say something directly to your listeners. We're in survival mode now. Every decision we make is about maximizing the number of people who live through this. Is the carrier program perfect? No. Is it ethical in normal circumstances? Probably not. But these aren't normal circumstances. This is extinction level threat. We're asking carriers to help save humanity. That's not a small thing. That's not an evil thing. It's necessary.
And if they refuse?
Then we're all going to die. Simple as that.
We have more callers, but I'm getting word that we need to wrap up. Power supply is limited. We're sharing generator capacity with other broadcasts. To our listeners, if you're a carrier, the choice is yours. I can't tell you what to do. I can only tell you that both sides think they're right. The government thinks they need you for research. Survivors think they need you with them. Make your own decision, but make it knowing that either way, people are going to die. We'll continue broadcasting updates as we receive them. This is Bill Kennedy on Emergency Frequency 107.3. Stay safe out there.
I told you it wasn't flu. Now they're admitting it's something else, but they're still lying. They're still covering up. And if you're listening to this broadcast, if you can hear my voice, you need to understand what's really happening here, because the government is not going to tell you the truth. They just today leaked a document about carriers, about immunity, about 1 to 2% of the population that can't get infected. And they're acting like this is new information, like they just discovered it. Bullshit. Listen to me. Listen to me. They've known about carriers for weeks. That's what the random testing was about 3 weeks ago. Remember that? Voluntary health screening? Help us understand this new flu? They weren't studying the flu. They were hunting for immune people. They were building a database of carriers before most people even knew what a carrier was. I've been tracking this since the beginning. I've got sources. I've got documents. I've got timelines that don't add up. And here's what I know. The government has been identifying carriers from day one, testing people without consent, marking them in their databases. And now they want them all rounded up. Protective custody. You know what that means? LAB rats. Human experimentation. They're going to lock these people in bunkers and study them like animals. Why? Why do they need carriers so badly? Because they need to understand immunity so they can control it. Think about it. If there's a vaccine, who gets it? Who decides who lives and who dies? The rich, the powerful, the politically connected. They'll hoard it for themselves while everyone else gets thrown to the infected. Look at what's already happening. Wealthy people evacuated days before the general population. Private jets were flying out of major cities while regular folks were stuck in traffic trying to get past military checkpoints. Politicians are in bunkers. CEOs are in their mountain compounds. Silicon Valley billionaires are on their yachts in international waters. And where are you, hiding in your basement, rationing canned food, hoping the horde doesn't find your street? This was designed to kill most people and control the survivors? I've been saying this from day one. This is not a natural outbreak. Rabies-based viruses don't just magically jump to humans and spread this fast. This was engineered, either in a lab as a bioweapon that got loose, or, and I think this is more likely, deliberately released as population control. Think about the timing. Peak flu season starting, maximum vulnerability. Released in a major population corridor where it could spread fastest. This wasn't an accident. This was a plan. And the people who made the plan are sitting in their secure locations right now, watching us die and taking notes on their clipboards. Now let's talk about these FEMA camps. You think those are rescue centers? You think the government set those up to help you? No, those are collection points, sorting facilities. They're separating carriers from non-carriers, taking the immune ones to labs, and everyone else gets shoved into overcrowded camps where the infection spreads like wildfire. I've got reports, credible reports, of camps being overrun within hours because they were deliberately undersupplied and undersecured. And you want to know the sick part, the really sick part? I think they're letting the camps get overrun. I think they want high-density infection zones because it speeds up the mutation process, gets them more data faster, more variants to study. We're not citizens to them anymore. We're test subjects. Speaking of mutations, they're finally admitting that the infected are changing, evolving, getting worse. Giant ones, exploding ones, ones with tongues like tentacles that drag you out of hiding. And the official story is what? Natural mutation, virus evolution, engineered features. This pathogen was designed to mutate, programmed to create variants. Whoever made this knew it would evolve into multiple forms. I've been spray painting warnings everywhere I go, on overpasses, on buildings, on walls. They're lying. It's not flu. Don't trust FEMA. Carriers hide. Because I know they're monitoring broadcasts. I know they're shutting down radio stations that tell the truth. So I'm leaving physical messages, graffiti warnings that they can't erase fast enough, and I'm moving constantly. Mobile setup. Never stay in one place more than a few hours. Can't let them triangulate my position. Here's what you need to do if you're immune. If you're a carrier, hide it. Don't tell anyone. Don't go to testing centers. Don't volunteer for anything. The government is not trying to save you. They're trying to use you. And here's what they're not telling you. Carriers can still spread it. You're immune, but you're contagious. That's why they want you so badly. You're not just a research specimen. You're a biological weapon they need to control. You can walk into a survivor camp, shake hands, share a meal, and infect everyone without ever knowing. That's why the military treats carriers with shoot-on-sight protocols in some zones. You're not valuable. You're dangerous. And once they're done studying you, what do you think happens? You think they let a walking plague vector go free? No, you disappear. You're a security risk because you're a biological threat they can't neutralize. If you have to tell someone you're immune, make it someone you trust completely. Someone in your survival group who needs to know because it affects group safety. But never tell authorities. The moment they know you're a carrier, you're not a person anymore. You're an asset, and they will take you by force if they have to. I've heard reports of armed military teams raiding shelters to extract carriers. Soldiers pointing guns at American civilians, threatening to shoot if the carriers aren't handed over. This is martial law. This is tyranny. This is exactly what they wanted. They created a crisis so severe that people would accept any level of government control just to feel safe. And now there is no constitution, no rights, no law, just soldiers with guns and bureaucrats with clipboards deciding who lives and who dies. And speaking of military, let's talk about how fast they mobilized. National Guard units were in position within hours of the first major outbreak. Barriers went up overnight. Checkpoints appeared like magic. You know how long it normally takes to deploy military assets on that scale? Days, weeks. But this time, instant response. Because they were already prepared. They had plans, procedures, supply chains, secure communication networks. They were ready for this before it started. And let's talk about what they're not telling you about carriers. The Civil Emergency and Defense Agency buried this in technical language, but I'll translate. Carriers are contagious. They don't show symptoms, but they spread the pathogen. You know what that means? It means every carrier walking around in survivor groups is a ticking time bomb, shaking hands, sharing water bottles, helping bandage wounds, and boom, non-immune person gets infected and doesn't know until they're already turning. This is why they're hunting carriers so aggressively, not just for research, because carriers are biological weapons that can destroy entire survivor communities from the inside. And the government knows this. They've known from the beginning. That's why the military has authorization to shoot carriers on site in contaminated zones. Not to protect the carriers, to protect everyone else from the carriers. So if you're immune, congratulations, you're now classified as a biohazard, a walking plague. The government will lock you up. Survivor groups will execute you, and you won't even know you're killing people until they start dropping around you. Some of you are probably thinking I've lost my mind, that I'm paranoid, that I'm connecting dots that aren't there. And 2 weeks ago, maybe I'd agree with you. But look around. Look around. Half the eastern United States is gone. Cities are dead zones. Millions of people are infected or dead. The government has abandoned entire regions, and now they're hunting immune people like they're prizes to be collected. Tell me I'm crazy. Tell me this is all coincidence. Tell me there's a rational explanation that doesn't involve conspiracy. You can't, because there isn't one. The only explanation that fits all the facts is that this was planned, this was engineered, this was deliberate, and the people responsible are still out there, still in power, still making decisions that affect whether you live or die. I don't know how long I could keep broadcasting. Every time I set up, I risk being located. Every time I transmit, I risk being traced. But someone needs to tell the truth. Someone needs to warn people. The mainstream media is either evacuated or controlled. The government is lying. The military is following orders without question. It's up to people like me to spread the word. So here's my final message for this broadcast. If you're immune, hide. If you're not immune, run. Don't trust government safe zones. Don't believe promises of rescue. Don't hand over weapons. Don't comply with testing. The system has failed. The government has failed. You're on your own now. Form your own groups. Protect your own people. Make your own rules. Because the old world is gone. And what's being built on top of it is not going to be democracy. It's going to be control. Total control by the people who orchestrated this nightmare. Wake up. Stay alert. Stay armed. Stay mobile. And stay alive. That's all that matters now. Survival. Not by their rules, but by yours. This is Purple Chambers, broadcasting from somewhere in what used to be America. They're not going to silence me. They're not going to stop me. And they're not going to win. I'm signing off now, moving to new location. But I'll be back, and I'll keep telling the truth as long as there's anyone left to hear it. Stay strong, question everything, trust no one, and remember, they knew, and they did it anyway.
This is the emergency alert system. This message is being broadcast on all available frequencies. The United States government has activated continuity of operations procedures. Federal authority has relocated to secure facilities. Martial law is in effect nationwide. The eastern seaboard from Maine to North Carolina is considered a level 5 hot zone. No rescue operations are being conducted in these areas. Residents trapped within quarantine perimeters are advised to shelter in place and avoid detection. New variant forms of infected have been confirmed. These mutations display enhanced capabilities including increased size, explosive decomposition, and extended attack range. Do not engage variants under any circumstances. Retreat immediately. Evacuation is no longer orderly. Government processing centers are at capacity or compromised. Civilians are authorized to evacuate westward using any available means. Avoid major highways. Travel in small groups. Maintain noise discipline. Military checkpoints will deny entry to anyone displaying symptoms or unable to verify uninfected status. Rules of engagement authorize lethal force. Comply with all directives immediately. Power and communication infrastructure is failing. This may be the final emergency alert system broadcast in affected regions. Monitor battery-powered radios for local information. Trust only official military frequencies. If you are immune to infection, you are urged to identify yourself to authorities. Carrier immunity is critical to research efforts. Survive. Evacuate west. Avoid infected zones. God help us all.
This is Bill Kennedy broadcasting on emergency frequency 107.3. We're into day 15 of the crisis, and I don't have much in the way of good news tonight. The eastern seaboard is effectively lost. Power grids are failing across the region. Communication networks are sporadic at best. But we're still here, still broadcasting, and we still have people calling in with their stories. Tonight, I want to spend some time with a caller who's been checking in with us since day 5. She was in Fairfield when this started. She evacuated to Philadelphia, and now she's trapped inside the quarantine zone. Ma'am, are you there?
I'm here, Bill. Still alive, somehow.
Tell us what the situation is like where you are.
I'm alone now, Bill. Started with 9 people. Lost 2 in the first week when they tried to make a supply run. Another one got sick. Regular sick. Infection from a contaminated wound. We didn't have antibiotics. She died. Another guy walked out. Said he couldn't take it anymore. Went down to the street and let them take him. That left 4 of us. Me, Sarah, and 2 others. Then 3 days ago, everything went wrong. I'm still in the same building on Market Street, 4th floor. But now I'm the only one here. The infected are everywhere now, hundreds of them in the streets, maybe thousands. They move in patterns. During the day they're mostly scattered, wandering, but at night they gather, form groups, stand at intersections like they're waiting for something.
Are they still responding to sound?
Oh yeah. Any loud noise and they all turn at once. Start running toward it. We watched a building collapse 3 blocks from here yesterday. The sound brought every infected and maybe a half-mile radius. They swarmed it, climbed over the rubble, searching. There was nothing there, just wreckage. But they kept looking for almost an hour before they spread out again. I don't make a sound, not anymore. I move on the balls of my feet. I breathe quietly. It's like I'm not even alive. Just a ghost haunting my own hiding place.
You mentioned you're rationing supplies. How long can you last?
Maybe 3 more days if I stretch it. I'm eating 1 meal a day now. About 400 calories. Just enough to keep functioning. Water's okay because the building pressure is still holding. But I don't know how long that'll last either. When it goes, when the water stops, I'm done. Being alone it's harder than I thought. No one to watch your back. No one to keep watch while you sleep. Every sound could be them coming back. Could be more infected. Could be the end.
Have you seen any sign of military presence inside the quarantine zone? Any rescue operations?
No, nothing. We saw helicopters the first few days flying over, observing, but they never landed. Never dropped supplies, just watched us, like we were specimens in a cage. I don't think they're coming, Bill. I don't think anyone is. I think they've decided that everyone inside the perimeter is expendable.
That's a hard thing to accept.
It is, but it's also reality. And I need to tell you something. Something I haven't been able to tell anyone.
Go ahead.
I think I'm immune. I know I am, actually, because I've been exposed. Twice. The first time was in Fairfield. My neighbor, Bill, the one I told you about who transformed. He grabbed me, scratched my arm, drew blood. I cleaned it as best I could. But I was sure I was going to turn. I waited hours. Nothing happened. I thought maybe I got lucky. Maybe the exposure wasn't enough. But then 2 weeks ago, here in Philadelphia, one of them got into our building. We were sleeping, and it broke through a window we thought was secure. It attacked one of our group. I tried to help, and it bit my shoulder, bit through my shirt, broke the skin. I could feel its teeth, could feel the blood. Everyone else thought I was dead, thought I'd turn any minute. They wanted to. They wanted to lock me in a room, wait for the transformation. But it never came. I never got sick, never got the fever, never got the rage. I'm immune, Bill. I'm a carrier.
Wait, you said you're alone now. What happened to the other 3?
Sarah. One of our group, Sarah, she cut her hand on broken glass about a few days ago. Nothing serious. Just needed bandaging. I helped her. My hands had scratches too from when I was bitten. I thought nothing of it. We'd been careful. We'd avoided the infected for days.
She transformed.
3 days ago, middle of the night, she started screaming. That made scream. We all woke up and she was already changed. She killed Marcus before any of us even got out of our sleeping bags. Just tore into him. David tried to fight her off with a pipe. She got him too. I ran, locked myself in the bathroom, heard them both turn, heard the screaming, the sounds. When it finally went quiet, I waited 6 hours before I came out. They were gone. The window was broken. They must have gone out into the street, followed the sound of the horde below.
And you think you transmitted it to Sarah?
I know I did, Bill. The timing. We hadn't seen infected in almost a week. The building was secure. And then I helped bandage her hand with my contaminated scratches, and 3 days later she turns? I infected her, and Sarah killed Marcus and David. I'm responsible for their deaths.
You didn't know?
No, I didn't know. But now I do. Now I know that I'm not just immune. I'm dangerous. I'm a carrier in the medical sense. I carry the pathogen. I spread it. If I joined another group, if I tried to help someone, I could kill them all without ever meaning to. That's why I'm staying alone. That's why I can't tell anyone what I am. Because if people knew I was a carrier, they wouldn't see someone who could help them survive. They'd see someone who murdered 3 people by trying to help them.
So you're keeping it secret?
I am. And I'm telling anyone else who's immune to do the same. Don't trust anyone with this information. Not the government, not your friends, not your family. Because you're not just immune. You're contagious, you're dangerous. I've heard the broadcasts. Carriers can still spread the pathogen. I infected Sarah. Sarah killed Marcus and David. 3 people are dead because I didn't know I was contagious. If I join another group, if I reveal what I am, they'll either turn me over to the government or kill me themselves. And they'd be right to. I'm not a person anymore. I'm not a resource. I'm a threat, a walking biological weapon that killed 3 people by trying to help. So I stay alone, where I can't hurt anyone else.
I need to ask, and I know this is difficult, but you witnessed transformations. Your neighbor in Fairfield, Sarah and the others in Philadelphia. Can you describe what it's like? What actually happens?
It's fast. With my neighbor Bill, he was complaining about feeling sick, sweating, nauseous. Then he started vomiting. This green bile just pouring out of him. He collapsed, started convulsing, shaking violently. And then he changed. His eyes went wrong, bloodshot and wild. He started screaming. Not words, just rage, pure rage. He got up and charged at his wife. She didn't even have time to run. The transformation took maybe 90 seconds, start to finish. 1 minute he was Bill, husband, father, neighbor. Next minute he was a thing, a monster, something that looked like Bill but wasn't Bill anymore. And that's what's so horrible about this. They still look human. You can recognize their faces, see who they used to be. But there's nothing left inside. No personality, no memories, no humanity. Just hunger for violence. Sarah was the same. That scream, that rage. And then Marcus and David. After she got them, they turned too. Within minutes. I could hear it happening through the bathroom door. The sounds they made, not human anymore.
How do you cope with that? Seeing people you knew become infected, knowing you may have caused it?
You don't. You survive. You put it in a box in your mind and you lock it away and you focus on the next hour, the next meal, the next night. You stop thinking about yesterday or tomorrow because yesterday is full of ghosts and tomorrow might not exist. You live in the moment because the moment is all you have. I've watched people I cared about die. I've watched them transform. I've caused them to transform. And I'm still here, still breathing, still hiding, still hoping that maybe, somehow, this ends. But I don't know if it will. I don't know if it can. The infected don't die. They don't get tired. They don't give up. They just keep coming. Forever. And eventually they find everyone.
We also have Dr. Ellis Doyle on the line. Doctor, you've been listening to this. What's your response?
I don't know what to say. What this caller describes is the reality everywhere the infection reaches critical mass. We're not reclaiming territory. We're not reversing the spread. We're trying to slow it down enough to give people time to evacuate to defensible zones. But there's no plan to retake Philadelphia or Baltimore or any of the other lost cities. They're gone. And to the caller, I understand your fear. I understand your guilt. But you didn't know carriers could transmit. Most people still don't know. that information is it's been kept quiet because of exactly what you're experiencing now. The fear, the isolation, the guilt. But please understand that carriers are genuinely our best hope for developing a treatment. If you survive this, if you make it to a secure zone, please consider coming forward, not for the government, for humanity. We need to understand immunity. We need to understand transmission. Your experience, tragic as it is, could help us save others.
With respect, Doctor, humanity didn't help me when I needed it, and I killed 3 people by trying to help them. I'm not coming forward to kill more people in your labs. I'm staying alone, where I belong.
Thank you for calling. Stay safe if you can. To everyone listening, what you just heard is the truth from someone living inside the collapse. No filters, no government spin, just survival and the terrible cost of not knowing what you are. That's all any of us have left now. Survival, one day at a time, 1 hour at a time. We'll continue broadcasting as long as we can. This is Bill Kennedy on emergency frequency 107.3. Good luck out there. You're gonna need it.
All right. So I'm recording this from, honestly, I don't even know where I am anymore. Some basement, generator power, running on fumes, literally and figuratively. If you're hearing this, you're probably in a similar situation. Hiding, surviving, trying to make sense of what the hell happened to the world. I've got Purple Chambers on the line. He's been broadcasting conspiracy theories since this thing started. And you know what? A lot of what he said turned out to be true. So, Chambers, man, talk to me. What are we not being told?
Carl, appreciate you having me on. And yeah, I've been right about a lot of things. Wasn't flu, check. Government knew more than they were saying, check. Carrier program was planned in advance, check. But the deeper you dig into this, the worse it gets. Let's start with the basics. This pathogen, this virus, whatever it is, it's too perfect, too efficient. Natural evolution doesn't create something this devastating this quickly. Rabies-based viruses take weeks to incubate. This takes minutes. Natural transmission is slow and requires direct contact. This spreads like wildfire. Natural mutations are random. This thing seems to be mutating in specific, almost predictable directions.
Okay, so you're saying it's artificial. Bioweapon. We've heard that theory, but, I mean, come on, who would create something like this, and why would they release it?
That's the question, isn't it? Look, I've got sources, had sources. Most of them are dark now, dead or evacuated or who knows. But before they went silent, I was getting information, documents, timelines, names. And here's what I think happened. This was a bioweapons research program, probably military, probably black budget, studying how to weaponize rabies family viruses for, I don't know, enemy combatants, create a pathogen that incapacitates enemy forces quickly without using nuclear weapons. But something went wrong. Or maybe, and this is darker, something went right. Maybe this was always the end game.
You're saying what? That someone deliberately released this to what? Kill billions of people?
Population control. Think about it, Carl. The world's been heading toward resource crisis for decades. Climate change, food shortages, water wars, energy collapse. What if someone in power decided that the only way to save humanity was to reduce the population drastically, quickly, and in a way that looked like a natural disaster rather than genocide? Release a pathogen in a high-density corridor. Let it spread. Let it do its work. The strong survive, the weak die. The immune become the foundation for a new, smaller, more manageable population. It's horrific, but it's also efficient.
That's pretty dark, man. You're talking about intentional extinction level event.
Not extinction, selection. And before you dismiss this as paranoid rambling, ask yourself, why was the military response so fast? How did they have quarantine procedures ready to go? Why did wealthy people start evacuating days before the public even knew this was serious? Someone knew this was coming. Someone was prepared, and that means someone planned it.
Okay, let's say, hypothetically, that you're right, that this was intentional. Who benefits?
Who's still alive and in power. Government continuity sites are secure. Military command structure relocated to bunkers. Political leadership evacuated to undisclosed locations. Billionaires on private islands and yachts. Tech executives in New Zealand compounds. Meanwhile, regular people are dying by the millions. fighting for scraps, hiding in basements, being hunted by infected former neighbors. The people who benefit are the people who survive with their power intact. And right now, that's a very small group.
What about the mutation, the special infected? We're getting reports of things that don't match the normal profile. Giant ones, exploding ones, ones with weird abilities. How does that fit your theory?
That's the scary part. If this was engineered, then the mutations might have been engineered too. Not the specific forms, but the tendency to mutate. You create a base pathogen that's extremely unstable, that mutates rapidly in unpredictable directions, release it into a population of hundreds of millions of hosts, and let it evolve, see what emerges, collect data, study the variants. We're not just dying, Carl. We're participating in a massive experiment. The infected are the test subjects, the survivors are the control group, and somewhere, someone is taking notes.
That's nightmare fuel. Okay. But let's talk about something that might actually help people, the carriers. What should they do? Trust the government program or hide?
Hide, 100% hide. Look, the official story is that carriers are needed for vaccine research, and maybe that's partly true, but here's what they're not telling you. Carriers can still spread the pathogen. You're asymptomatic, but you're contagious. That's why they want you so badly. You're not just research subjects, you're walking biological weapons that need to be contained. They can use you as scouts in infected zones, sure, but every time you interact with non-immune survivors, you risk spreading it. You shake hands, share supplies, help someone with a wound, and boom, you've infected them without knowing. That's why the military treats carriers with extreme caution. You're not valuable, you're dangerous. If you're a carrier and you reveal yourself to authorities, you're not going to some cushy research lab where they draw a little blood and send you on your way. You're going into quarantine. Military-controlled isolation. You lose all autonomy. You become government property. And if you resist, if you try to leave, what do you think happens?
So carriers should just, stay hidden, form their own groups?
Yes and no. Form communities of immune people if you can, but stay the hell away from non-immune survivors. You're a transmission risk to them. Carriers are going to be the foundation of whatever comes after this, but only if you stay independent and isolated. Don't mix with regular survivor groups unless you want their blood on your hands, and definitely don't get swept up in government control structures.
Let me push back on this for a second. What if you're wrong? What if this really is a natural outbreak and the government really is trying to help? What if carriers really could save millions of lives by participating in research?
Then I'm wrong, and humanity has a chance. But Carl, look at the evidence. Look at how fast this spread. Look at how prepared certain people were. Look at how the response has been more about control than rescue. I'm not wrong. I wish I was, but I'm not.
You mentioned documents, names. What kind of stuff were you seeing before your sources went dark?
DARPA research proposals from 2012, gain-of-function studies at Fort Detrick, funding trails that led to private biotech companies, meeting minutes from think tanks discussing population sustainability. And here's the kicker. Several of those meetings specifically mentioned pandemic scenarios as potential solutions to resource crises, not problems to prevent, solutions to implement.
Did you save any of this? Upload it somewhere?
Some of it encrypted, distributed across multiple servers. But Carl, if you're thinking about trying to expose this, don't. We're past that point. The truth doesn't matter anymore. Survival matters. The world that cared about accountability and justice and rule of law, that world is gone. This is a different world now. Harder, darker, where might makes right, and truth is whatever the people with guns say it is.
That's bleak, man.
It's realistic. I've been tracking this from the beginning. I've seen how it unfolded, and I'm telling you, this was not an accident. This was a plan. Whether it went exactly as intended or spun out of control, I don't know. But it started as a plan. And the people who made that plan are still out there, still in positions of power, still making decisions.
So what do we do? What do regular people listening to this, what do they do with this information?
Survive. Trust no one outside your immediate group. Don't go to government camps. Don't volunteer for programs. Don't trust promises of safety. Form small, independent communities. Stay mobile. Stay armed. Stay alert. The old world is dead. Stop trying to resurrect it. Build something new, something better. But build it on your terms, not theirs.
All right. Chambers, man, I don't even know what to say. Half of me thinks you're paranoid. The other half thinks you're probably right. Stay safe out there. Keep broadcasting if you can.
You too, Carl. And to everyone listening, remember this. They lied about it being flu. They lied about the spread rate. They lied about containment. Why would they suddenly start telling the truth now?
question everything, trust no one, and survive.
All right. That's all I've got for today. I don't know when I'll record again. Generator's almost out of fuel. Supplies are low. If you're hearing this, good luck. We're all going to need it.
This is Bill Kennedy on emergency frequency 107.3, day 16. I'm not going to sugarcoat this. The news today is, it's worse. It's all worse. We're getting fragmentary accounts from multiple sources about infected that are different variant strains, mutations, and as of this morning, the military has confirmed it. The pathogen is evolving, creating new forms, and these new forms they're more dangerous than anything we've seen before. I have Colonel Blake Wesker on the line. Colonel, you're calling from the field this time, not the studio. What's your situation?
Bill, I'm calling from outside what used to be Pittsburgh. My unit was tasked with securing a military supply depot in the suburbs. We encountered something today that I've never seen anything like it. I'm a 20-year Marine. I've been in combat zones all over the world, and nothing prepared me for this.
Tell us what happened.
We were clearing a commercial district. Standard sweep pattern. Weapons up. Moving building to building. We've done this 100 times in the past 2 weeks. Then one of my men saw movement inside a warehouse. Big movement. We moved to engage, and this thing came out of the building. It was 8 feet tall. Maybe more. Massively muscular. Gray skin like concrete. It saw us, and it roared. I felt it in my chest, and then it picked up a car. A whole car. Lifted it over its head and threw it at my squad. The car hit one of our Humvees, flipped it, 3 men inside. We opened fire, poured hundreds of rounds into this thing. It barely slowed down. It charged us, swinging its fists like wrecking balls. Hit one of my Marines and launched him 30 feet through a storefront window.
How did you stop it?
We didn't. Not quickly. It took concentrated fire from 4 assault rifles, 2 light machine guns, and 3 fragmentation grenades before it finally went down. Even then, it was still moving, still trying to get up. We've got protocols for dealing with standard infected, headshots, center mass, controlled bursts. But this required everything we had, and we barely survived.
Have you encountered other variants?
Yes. Yesterday, we engaged what we're calling an exploder. Extremely obese infected that. When we shot it, it detonated. Showered my entire squad with bile. Green, corrosive bile. It burned through uniforms, got in eyes, and every infected in the area converged on us within minutes. Like the bile was a beacon. We lost 2 men in that engagement. We've also encountered infected with elongated tongues, 10, 15 feet long. They hide on rooftops or in buildings, and they shoot these tongues out to grab soldiers, drag them away from the group. One of my men was pulled through a 3rd-story window. We heard him screaming for about 30 seconds, then nothing.
Colonel, your voice sounds different than the last time we spoke.
I'm done, Bill. I'm done pretending we're winning. I'm done pretending we have a strategy. We don't. We're reacting. We're surviving. Barely. Standard tactics don't work against these variants. We've lost more people to these mutations in the past 2 days than we lost to regular infected in the past 2 weeks. And the worst part? We're seeing more of them every day. At first, we thought they were rare, 1 in 1,000. Now we're seeing them regularly. Multiple variants in every engagement. It's like the virus is accelerating, producing new forms faster than we can adapt.
We also have Dr. Ellis Doyle on the line. Doctor, Can you explain what's happening? Why is the virus mutating?
It's an RNA virus, Bill. They mutate constantly. Every replication is a chance for variation. What we're seeing is evolution in real time. The pathogen is trying different configurations. Most of them fail, but some produce viable variants with new capabilities. The massive infected the Colonel described. We don't know how that mutation happens. Extreme muscle growth, bone density increase, heightened aggression. The exploder variant appears to have a digestive system malfunction that produces massive quantities of bile. The tongue mutations are, we have no explanation. That's not anatomically possible based on our understanding of human physiology.
So this is getting worse, not better.
Much worse. If the mutation rate continues accelerating, we could see dozens of variant types within weeks, possibly more, each with different capabilities, different threat profiles. We're studying this as best we can, but Bill, we're losing research facilities faster than we're gaining data. The Civil Emergency and Defense Agency main campus in Atlanta is under evacuation orders. Fort Detrick is compromised. We're running out of places to do science.
The infection is also spreading geographically. We're getting reports from the Midwest now, Chicago suburbs, Detroit, Cleveland, and spreading south. Is that correct?
Yes. The infection is moving west and south at an accelerating rate. Georgia has confirmed cases, Louisiana, Tennessee, Texas. The eastern seaboard is lost, the Midwest is falling, and we're running out of defensible territory.
Colonel Wesker, what's the military's assessment? Can you hold the line?
No, we can't hold anything. We're conducting fighting retreats, delaying actions, buying time for evacuations. But we're not holding territory. We're not pushing back. And Bill, I need to tell you something else. Something they don't want me saying on air. Units are deserting, not individual soldiers, entire units. Yesterday, a National Guard battalion in Ohio refused deployment orders. Said they were going home to protect their families. Command threatened court-martial. The battalion commander told them to go to hell. Last I heard, that whole unit went dark, disappeared, probably scattered to wherever they came from. And I can't blame them. I've ordered my men to fire on American civilians, on women, on children, because they're infected, because they're a threat. But they still look human, Bill. They still have faces. And my Marines are breaking down. Some are refusing orders. Some are eating their weapons. Morale isn't just low, it's gone.
Are you saying the military is collapsing?
I'm saying we're human. And we've been asked to do inhuman things for 2 weeks straight with no end in sight. Some people can handle that, most can't. And the ones who can't are either deserting or dying. We're hemorrhaging personnel, Bill. Combat losses, desertions, psychological breakdowns. Give it another week and I don't know what'll be left.
We're taking calls from listeners. Caller, you're on the air.
Bill, I'm in central Pennsylvania, small town. We've been relatively untouched so far. But last night we saw something. It looked like a person, but it was crouched, moving on all fours, fast, jumping from rooftop to rooftop. We heard it screaming, this high-pitched shriek, like a hunting call. And then we heard answering calls from all around us. Multiple infected, all screaming back. We're barricaded in the town hall now. There are maybe 40 of us, and we can hear them outside, waiting.
That's another variant. We've encountered those. They're hunters, ambush predators. They pounce on victims from above, can leap 20, 30 feet. If you're in a defensive position, stay there. Don't go outside. They'll wait for you. They're patient.
Thank you for calling. Stay safe. Ladies and gentlemen, what we're learning today is that the threat is evolving, changing, getting more dangerous. The infection isn't just spreading, it's diversifying, creating new forms that are harder to fight, harder to predict, harder to survive. If you're in an area that hasn't been hit yet, prepare now, fortify your position, gather supplies, form groups. And if you encounter any of these variant infected, do not engage if you can avoid it. They require overwhelming force to bring down. Run if you can. Hide if you can't run. Fight only as a last resort. We'll continue monitoring the situation and broadcasting updates. This is Bill Kennedy on emergency frequency 107.3. Stay alive out there. That's all that matters now. Just stay alive.
My fellow Americans, now, I'm speaking to you tonight from a secure location, not from the Oval Office, not from the White House. Those buildings have been evacuated. And look, I'm not going to stand here and tell you that the situation is under control, because it's not. The situation has deteriorated significantly beyond what any of our models predicted. Let me be clear. Let me be direct with you. The eastern seaboard, from Maine down to the Carolinas, is lost. We no longer maintain governmental authority over Pennsylvania, New York, New Jersey, Maryland, Delaware. And I need you to understand what that means. It means that millions of our fellow Americans in those regions are on their own right now. We cannot reach them. We cannot extract them. And I will not lie to you and say that rescue operations are underway. They're not. The infection is moving west, it's moving south. Chicago has fallen. Detroit, Cleveland. We're seeing major outbreaks in Georgia, in Louisiana, in Tennessee. Now, this is not the kind of war we're accustomed to fighting. There's no enemy command structure to target, no supply lines to cut, no peace treaty to negotiate. We're fighting biology itself. And right now, biology is winning. I've activated continuity of government procedure. What that means is constitutional leadership, chain of command, has been relocated to secure facilities across the country. The line of succession is protected. The government of the United States, your government, continues to function. Let's be honest about what we're doing here. We're in triage mode. We're making impossible choices about which communities we can protect and which ones, tragically, we cannot save. Effective immediately. I'm authorizing expanded rules of engagement for our military personnel. Our soldiers, our Marines, our National Guard troops, they now have authorization to use lethal force, not just against infected individuals, but against looters, against saboteurs, against anyone who threatens the security of our remaining government operations. Civilian law in the affected zones is suspended. Martial law is in effect nationwide. Now, these are not measures that I take lightly. These are not the kinds of decisions any president wants to make, but they are necessary. We're also seeing something, frankly, terrifying. The pathogen is mutating. We're encountering variant forms of infected with capabilities that go beyond what we initially observed. Some of them are massive, 8, 9 feet tall, incredibly strong. Others explode when killed, attracting more infected to the area. We've got reports of infected with, I know this sounds like something out of Resident Evil or The Last of Us, but we've got reports of infected with extended appendages that can grab people from a distance. This isn't a video game, this is happening, and our military is adapting as fast as they can. But every adaptation, every tactical adjustment, we're paying for it in American blood. Now, if you're evacuating, and I hope you are if you're in an affected area, here's what you need to know. Head west. Avoid the major metropolitan areas. They're death traps. Trust only military checkpoints that can provide proper identification and current authentication codes. And be careful. Deserters and looters are impersonating official military personnel. Verify credentials before you trust anyone. And if something feels wrong, trust your gut. That instinct might save your life. Look, I'm going to level with you about the FEMA camps. Many of these facilities are overwhelmed. They're undersupplied. Some have been completely overrun. We're doing everything we can, but resources are finite, and the need it's essentially infinite. So if you can survive independently, if you can form small groups, stay mobile, that may actually be your best option right now. I know that's not what you want to hear from your president, but it's the truth. Now I want to talk directly to those of you who are carriers, those of you who are immune. We're not demanding, but we're asking you to come forward and participate in research efforts. I know trust is in short supply right now. I know you've heard stories about mandatory testing, about people being taken into custody, and some of those stories are true. We've made mistakes. We've been heavy-handed in our approach. And for that, I apologize. I take full responsibility, but here's what I need you to understand. Your immunity, the genetic factors that protect you, that may be humanity's only realistic chance at developing a vaccine, at developing a treatment, at finding something, anything that can stop this. If you're immune, your blood, your DNA, contains information that could potentially save millions of lives, billions of lives. So I'm not ordering you, I'm asking you, as one human being to another. Help us help humanity. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. You're thinking, this sounds like a movie. This sounds like I Am Legend, or Contagion, or 28 Days Later, where everything works out in the third act because the heroes find a cure. Let me be very clear. This is not a movie. This is not The Walking Dead, where our survivors are going to band together and find some perfect safe zone. This is real life. And in real life, things don't work out just because we want them to. They work out because we make hard choices, because we sacrifice, because we do what is necessary, even when it's painful, even when it costs us everything. Some of you are thinking this is the end. That American civilization, that human civilization, is finished. I don't accept that. I refuse to accept that. We are a resilient species. We have survived plagues before. We survived the Black Death. We survived the Spanish flu. We've endured world wars, natural disasters, economic collapses. And every time, every single time, we've rebuilt. We've come back stronger, smarter, more determined. But, and I need to be honest with you, not everyone is going to survive this. Most won't. The numbers we're seeing they're almost incomprehensible. We're looking at a reduction in global population that will fundamentally reshape human society. Those of you who do survive, you're going to inherit an enormous responsibility. The responsibility of rebuilding, of remembering who we were, of making sure that what comes next, whatever society emerges from this, is worthy of the sacrifice that so many have made. So here are my final instructions. If you're in a hot zone, leave. Now, don't pack. Don't gather your belongings. Don't wait for official evacuation orders that may never come. Just go. If you're in what we're calling a transitional zone, prepare for the worst. Fortify your position. Organize your community. Arm yourselves, because the infection is coming. It's just a matter of time. And if you're in a safe zone, and those are getting fewer by the day, help your neighbors. Share your resources. Maintain order. We need people who remember what civilization means. We need people who can hold the line. And to our military personnel who are still in the field, to our first responders, to our medical professionals who have stayed at their posts while the world fell apart around them, thank you. You are heroes, every single one of you. You're fighting an enemy that can't be reasoned with, that can't be deterred, that doesn't feel fear or pain or mercy, and you're doing it anyway. History will remember what you've done here. If there's anyone left to write that history, I don't know when I'll be able to address the nation again. Our communication infrastructure is failing. Broadcast capabilities they're limited and getting more limited by the hour. We're losing the ability to speak to you as a unified nation. This may be the last official statement you hear from the federal government for some time. After this, you're going to be on your own. Local leadership, community organization, personal responsibility. Those are the things that are going to matter now. Not federal mandates, not congressional legislation. Just people taking care of people. You know, I've been thinking about a line from one of my favorite movies, The Dark Knight. The night is darkest just before the dawn. I've always believed that. I've always believed that when we're tested, when we're pushed to our absolute limit, that's when we discover what we're truly capable of. This is our test. This is humanity's test. And I have to believe, that we're going to pass it. God bless your families. God bless the United States of America. And may God have mercy on us all, because we are going to need it. Stay safe, stay strong, and never, ever give up hope.
This is Bill Kennedy on emergency frequency 107.3. This may be the last transmission from this location. We're leaving soon. The station is evacuating. Power is failing. And honestly, I don't know if anyone is still listening, but if you are, here's what we know tonight. The eastern United States is no longer under federal control. The government has relocated to what they're calling continuity sites. They won't say where. Martial law is in effect nationwide. Military units have authorization to shoot on sight, not just infected, anyone who threatens operations, looters, deserters, desperate people. We have Francis Redfield on the line. He's been our government contact throughout this crisis. Francis, give us the national update, the real one.
Bill, there's no point in sugarcoating it anymore. We've lost the eastern seaboard. Pennsylvania, New York, New Jersey, Maryland, parts of Virginia. Every major city in those states is a dead zone. No communication, no survivors that we can confirm, just silence. The infection is spreading west faster than we can evacuate people. Chicago is falling, Detroit, Cleveland. We're seeing major outbreaks in Georgia, Louisiana, Tennessee. The pattern is the same everywhere. Once it reaches critical mass in an urban area, that area is lost within 72 hours.
What about the military? Can they hold anything?
No. The military is conducting fighting retreats, trying to buy time, but they're not holding territory. They can't. We've lost thousands of personnel, combat casualties, desertions, units that just went dark, stopped reporting. What's left of command structure is scattered across multiple secure sites with limited communication between them.
So the government has essentially abandoned the civilian population.
We've abandoned geography. The people who made it to secure zones, military bases, hardened facilities, we're trying to protect them, everyone else is. They're on their own. We don't have the resources to do more. We barely have the resources to do this much.
We have Nick Chambers calling in. Nick, you're our field reporter. Where are you now?
Bill, I'm not a reporter anymore. I'm a refugee. I'm calling from the side of Road 80, somewhere in rural Ohio. My press van ran out of gas about 2 hours ago. There are thousands of us out here, on foot, in broken down cars, just moving, trying to get west, away from the infection. The highways are gridlocked for miles, abandoned vehicles everywhere. Some of them still have people inside, dead, or worse. We're seeing violence over supplies, fuel, food, water. People are killing each other for a tank of gas. Military checkpoints are turning people away. They say they're at capacity, that they can't take any more. I watched a family get rejected yesterday. Father begged the soldiers to at least take his kids, said he and his wife would stay behind, but please save the children. The soldiers said no, turned them away at gunpoint.
Where are you headed?
I don't know. West, just west. I've got a backpack with 3 days of food, a bottle of water, and I'm walking, along with everyone else who ran out of fuel, or whose car broke down, or who just gave up.
Nick, thank you for everything you've done. Stay safe if you can.
You too, Bill. If I don't make it, tell them we tried. Tell them the reporters tried to get the truth out, for whatever that's worth now.
Francis, one more question. The mutations, the variant infected. What's the official position?
The official position is that we don't understand them. The virus is mutating faster than we can study it. We've confirmed at least 4 distinct variant types, the massive ones. The exploders, the ones with elongated tongues, and hunters that move on all fours. There may be more we don't know, we can't track it anymore. Our research infrastructure is gone.
So we're facing multiple threats now, not just one.
Yes, and they're getting more common. At first, the variants were rare, 1 in 1,000 infected. Now we're seeing them regularly. Multiple variants in every engagement. It's like the pathogen is evolving towards something, some final form. And we have no idea what that is.
All right, I need to take a moment here. This broadcast, it's been 16 days since this started. 16 days since I reported on a flu outbreak in a small Pennsylvania town. And now half the country is gone. Millions are dead, and we don't know how to stop it. The station is evacuating. Most of the staff is gone. The ones left are packing equipment, loading vehicles, preparing to move. We're shutting down the transmitter tonight. This frequency will go dark permanently. So this is it. The last broadcast. If you're hearing this, you're still alive. That's what matters. You survived. You made it through the worst 16 days in human history. And you're still here. Stay quiet. The infected are attracted to sound. Stay away from cities. Cities are death traps. Nothing left there but hordes and ruin. Keep moving. Don't stay in one place too long. They'll find you eventually. Trust no one until you're absolutely sure. Desperate people are more dangerous than infected sometimes. Form groups if you can. Small groups, 5 to 10 people. Share resources, watch each other's backs. Humans are social animals. We're not meant to survive alone. but be careful who you trust. Test them. See if they pull their weight. See if they make good decisions. See if they'd sacrifice for the group. If you're a carrier, if you're immune, hide it. Don't tell anyone unless you absolutely have to. Your immunity makes you valuable, and valuable things get taken. And good luck. We're all gonna need it. I'm getting word that we need to shut down now. Power's failing. Generators at 5%. So this is Bill Kennedy signing off for the last time. To everyone who listened, everyone who called in, everyone who shared their stories, thank you. You reminded me that humanity still exists, even in hell. Stay safe, stay strong, and maybe we'll meet again on the other side of this, if there is another side. This is Bill Kennedy on emergency frequency 107.3. Goodbye.
This is station K7, Victor calling any station. Anyone? Is anyone out there? This is K7 Victor on emergency frequency. If anyone can hear this, please respond. Over. I don't think anyone's listening anymore. But I'm gonna keep trying. What else am I gonna do? I'm trapped. Second floor of a house on Millbrook Street. Don't come here. If you're hearing this, don't come to Millbrook Street. It's overrun. They're everywhere. Dozens of them. Maybe hundreds. I can hear them outside, moving around, searching. I've been here for 4 days, I think. Maybe 5. Lost track. Days blend together when you're just waiting to die. I've got maybe half a bottle of water left. No food. Haven't eaten in 2 days. Battery on this radio is at maybe 10%. When it dies, that's it. No more calls. No more trying. I saw one of those different ones yesterday. Something huge. 8 feet tall. Muscles like it was carved from stone. It tore through a wall. Just walked straight through brick and mortar like it was cardboard. I watched it from the window. It was looking for something. Someone. I stayed very, very quiet. I think I'm immune. I was bitten 3 days ago. One of them got into the house before I could secure the ground floor. Got my arm. Drew blood. I cleaned the wound as best I could and waited to turn. But I didn't. Never got the fever. Never got the rage. Just stayed me. Thought that meant something. Thought I don't know, be useful somehow. Help people, make a difference. But I'm gonna die anyway. Immune doesn't mean invincible, just means the virus won't kill me. Starvation will, or dehydration, or one of those things will find a way in eventually. They always do. If Sarah's listening, if you're out there somewhere, I tried. I tried to get to the rally point. Tried to meet you like we planned. But the roads were blocked. The infected were everywhere. I couldn't make it. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I hope you made it out. I hope you found somewhere safe. Remember what we talked about. Head west. Stay away from cities. Find high ground with clean water. You're smart. You're strong. If anyone can survive this, it's you. I saw the warnings. The graffiti warnings spray painted on the overpass when I was trying to evacuate. Dead stop ahead. Turn back, they're lying. Should have listened. Should have turned around. Found another route. But I thought I could make it through. I was wrong. Battery's dying. Maybe 5% left now. Not much time. This is station K7, Victor calling any station. If anyone can hear this, don't make my mistakes. Don't go to the cities. Don't trust the evacuation routes. They're compromised. All of them. Find your own way. Stay off the main roads. Avoid anywhere with high population density. Is anyone still?
Turns out everything can go wrong, and it's not fun at all. This was supposed to be a podcast. We talked about conspiracy theories, government cover-ups, end-of-the-world scenarios, hypothetical disasters. Thought it was all, exploring ideas, mental exercises, fun speculation about what could happen if everything went wrong. I don't know if anyone's going to hear this. I don't know if I'm going to upload it. Hell, I don't know if there's still an internet to upload to. But I'm recording anyway, because that's what I do, what I did, what I used to do when the world made sense. I'm in a basement, studio in a basement, generator running on fumes. I can hear things outside, movement, footsteps, screaming in the distance. I've been down here for 3 days, alone, trying to keep broadcasting, because that's what I'm supposed to do, right? Information is important. Keeping people informed matters. I interviewed that doctor, what was his name? Thornhill, early on, day 8, I think. He told me about transmission rates, about how fast this thing spread. Said we were looking at societal collapse in weeks. I remember laughing, not at him, just nervous laughter, because that seemed impossible. America doesn't collapse. Not in weeks. Not ever. But he was right. It's been 2 weeks, and it's gone. All of it. Gone. I was wrong about some things, right about others. Doesn't matter now. Being right doesn't save you. Being prepared doesn't save you. Nothing saves you except luck. And eventually everyone's luck runs out. But who am I informing? My family evacuated west a week ago, told me to come with them. I said no, said I had to stay, had to keep the podcast going, had to, document this, bear witness, thought I was doing something important. I was an idiot. I keep thinking about all the episodes we recorded, all the theories we discussed. Government bioweapons, population control, engineered pandemics. We treated it like a game, like intellectual curiosity. Never really believed it could actually happen. And now it has. And I'm sitting in a basement waiting to die because I chose podcasting over family. What was I thinking? That information was more important than survival? That staying behind to broadcast to what? A dozen listeners scattered across the wasteland? That mattered more than being with my wife and kids? I'm an idiot. I'm a damn idiot. I'm going to stop recording, pack up, try to catch up with my family. They had a week head start. They're probably in Montana by now, or Colorado, or dead. But I have to try. I have to at least try. Now I'm done. But I'm stubborn. So I kept recording, kept broadcasting. Even after the stations went dark, even after the networks failed, even after it became obvious that nobody was listening. Because stopping felt like giving up. And I wasn't ready to give up. We didn't try hard enough, or fast enough, or we tried the wrong things. I don't know. I don't know anything anymore. This equipment, all this stuff I thought was so important, I'm leaving it. Taking food, water, anything useful. The recording gear stays. Let someone else find it. Let them wonder what we were thinking. Why we spent so much time talking into microphones while the world ended. If you're listening to this later, if there is a later, I hope you made it. I hope someone made it. I hope there's still something worth rebuilding, something worth saving. And I hope whoever finds this recording understands that we tried, in our own stupid way. We tried to make sense of it. Tried to help. Tried to do something. This was Carl Grimes, podcaster, conspiracy theorist, idiot who chose his microphone over his family. If you're out there, if you survived, learn from my mistakes. People matter more than principles. Family matters more than format. Stay human. Stay connected. Don't isolate yourself in the name of some greater purpose that doesn't actually matter. Goodbye. And good luck. I'm shutting down now. Gonna find my family or die trying. Either way, this is the end of the podcast. The end of the show. The end of everything, really.
Good evening once more. Well, that was rather bleak, wasn't it? You've just witnessed civilization doing what it has done many times throughout history, though rarely with such breathtaking speed, collapse. The difference, of course, is that this time the enemy wasn't an invading army or a political ideology or even our own self-destructive tendencies. It was biology, simple, efficient, merciless biology. How unfortunate for us. The doctors in our tale were quite correct about one thing. Viruses mutate, always evolving, always adapting, always seeking new hosts. We simply choose not to think about it, much as we choose not to think about many uncomfortable truths, until, of course, we have no choice. In the end, our story wasn't really about a plague at all. It was about fragility, the belief that our modern world, with its infrastructure and institutions, its military might and medical science, was somehow permanent, unshakable. We built our cities of concrete and steel, our networks of power and communication, our magnificent civilization, all assuming it would simply continue. The green flu merely reminded us how quickly assumptions can be shattered. Of course, this was all fiction. A dramatic tale inspired by a video game, but expanded to explore what such an outbreak might truly mean. Your cities are still standing, the people around you remain, for now, mercifully human. But perhaps tonight, when you hear sirens in the distance, when you see someone coughing on the subway, when the news reports another emerging pathogen, you'll wonder, is it just the ordinary chaos of modern life? Or is it the first whisper of something far worse beginning to spread? Sleep well tonight, and do try not to think about the fact that we share this planet with trillions of microorganisms, each evolving, each adapting, each seeking new opportunities. They've coexisted peacefully with us for your entire life, after all. What are the odds one would choose tonight to change its nature? Good night.